And good morning. It is a Wednesday, but unfortunately this week it's not going to be a Would You Rather Wednesday edition. I'm sorry. I would love to blame Gervin. Like, I would love to. And it's kind of because I wanted him to send, he sent me one scenario. I told him to send scenarios, ideas for Would You Rather Wednesday. He sent me one. So, you know what? I was going to put it all on me, but it's like 60% me, 40%. Okay, it's more like 58% Griffin, 42% me is, I think, what it is. That's the way. So no Would You Rather Wednesday today. I'm sorry. Just very busy last 24 hours. This is the fourth show I've done.
Wow. Since
this time yesterday. It's a lot. It's just a lot. Oh, those need to be printed, by the way. I sent them to you this morning. So, yeah, sorry. But we got a great show. I promise. Thank you to those of you that did join Reed and I this morning over on 105.7 The Fan, or last night on 105.7 The Fan. Good to be back here today. We got a lot to do on the program today. First of all, happy Juneteenth to everyone, and hope those of you that are enjoying a day off are enjoying it. Coming up on the program today, Drew Forrester might be walking in right now. He's going to be joining us before he goes and does another show today. He's doing the same thing I'm doing. He's doing 2 shows today. Later on in the program, we're going to chat with Tyler Locklear, Abingdon native, Curley alum. He made his debut for the Seattle Mariners last week. We will chat with him about that.
Don't have a hit since.
It's not true. What?
Well, the one night I needed him to get a hit, he didn't.
Oh, that might be true. There's Drew. That's what he's got.
Food?
No. What do you want?
I don't know. I'm starving.
Okay. You could have stopped.
Sure we got
you always stop at Royal Farm. This is the one time.
Well, I was late.
You decided right, but that's never stopped you before.
I don't want to be late. I'm a radio guy. You got to be on time.
Are you? Also this morning, AJ Pierzynski, Fox Sports and Foul Territory will check in with us, and the Iceman, George Gervin, the Hall of Famer, is going to join us this morning as well. So a lot to do on the program today.
I got some questions.
Are going to pretend to be a radio host later today.
I tried to back out of it yesterday, and Chuck said no.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm like, I totally forgot about it. I said, Chuck, I'm not really ready for tomorrow.
Yeah. I was going to say, what are you going to talk about today? Is that why you came in this morning, is to get some ideas of topics that you could discuss on your show?
That's actually a good idea. I could
Did you book any guests for today's show?
I thought they did that.
Yeah, they did that.
They don't?
Who's your producer?
I have no idea. Who's my producer?
I think it's Ben.
Dynamite stuff.
I think it's Ben.
Ben?
Yeah.
This guy.
Okay.
It's just dynamite.
Ben doesn't do the booking?
No.
Okay.
12 to 3 today. 105.7 The Fan.
Let me send Gavin a note real quick.
There you go.
Where are the White Sox? They're home.
They are at home.
Are they
at
home?
home?
Yeah, because they beat Houston last night.
There you go.
I'll
Look
send
at that.
Gavin a text.
Look at
See
that.
if he wants to do 2 hours with me.
Yeah.
3.
You do the entire afternoon.
How freaking good were the Gin Blossoms?
They were great. Where did that come from? I love the Gin
One
Blossoms.
of my questions for today.
That's what you're going to do for 3 hours today.
How good were the Gin Blossoms?
Dude, do you remember the media party that they played in Phoenix?
Yeah, in Phoenix.
Yeah, that was a hell of a time,
Yeah,
man.
was the lead singer still alive then, or was he gone?
No, Robin is still, I believe, still with us to this day. Robin lived right down the street from me.
Wait a minute, I thought the lead singer of the Gin Blossoms killed himself.
No.
Well, who am I thinking of?
Blind Melon?
No.
I don't know who you're thinking of then. I got to be honest with you. I'm not sure. The Gin Blossoms, Robin Wilson is the lead singer of the Gin Blossoms, has always been, to my knowledge. I don't know that there's ever been another singer of the Gin Blossoms. There were other members over the years. Maybe there was one that, there you go. He was the guitarist.
Same thing.
Not the same thing.
Okay. But he's
Doug Hopkins played the guitar
and
for the Gin
sang
Blossoms.
on some of the songs.
It
was like the Goo Goo Dolls. They let that moron sing.
Robbie Tabak.
Oh, my God. They let that guy get up there and screech.
I saw the Stones last week, and they did a 3-song Keith set.
Terrible, right?
Well, the one, Little TNA, is a good song.
Right.
Yeah, the other ones.
And what does Mick do during that 25 minutes?
It goes back and does
does he leave?
Oh, he leaves the stage, yes.
Okay.
Which, by the way, if that's what it takes, it's fine, because he's great.
Right, so you know what happens when he goes back
Yeah,
there.
he does a bunch of drugs. I mean,
There's a bunch of stuff going on.
I don't know why he doesn't just do it on
the
stage.
That's why he's so good beforehand. He's like, if I get through this first hour and 20
100%.
minutes, I got something waiting for me.
He's good. My wife wanted to see Brooks and Dunn last Thursday night. I took her to see Brooks and Dunn. Dunn just left. Like, Dunn just walked off the stage.
He was done.
Yes. If there was a word to describe, just left. And they all played like another song, and then they started looking around at each other like, guys, we're going to need a minute here to figure out what's going on. Dude just left. It came back on. He said, I had to go get a cortisone shot in the middle of his set. I had to go get things squared away. But they were fine. It was always good. We've lost Drew, by the way, because he just found out that he has to book his show for this afternoon.
I'm sending something to Gavin.
We're screwed now. Like, we might not. There might be. See if Gavin's willing to trade us Eric Fetty. Find that out. Just ask if we can't get Eric Fetty or Garrett Crochet in that process. So, yeah. Well, you'll be able to see Drew as he tries to book his show, and then I'll continue to talk. I think it'll be the way that this hour goes. Today's show.
All right. Hey, bud, I'm doing 12 to 3 radio today on 105.7. Yeah. Can you do the 3 hours with me at some point? And actually, could you book some other guests? No, I don't need any guests. I'm going to talk about the baseball team.
What are you going to say about them?
Got beat last night.
They did, 4-2.
4-2.
So,
what's the story with Judge? Is he out or not out?
He said after the game that X-rays were negative and that he thought he was fine. Whatever.
Okay.
So look, man, I don't like talking about this stuff because it. You guys know how I feel. It's effing exhausting.
What?
All of this nonsense. All the stuff
what?
from last night. All of the. Did you hear Michael Kay?
Oh, you mean because he got hit with a pitch and now?
Yeah, it's now they're gonna have to throw in Henderson. God, Jesus.
I know it. Well, you know what I think about it. I mean, it's the dumbest thing in the history of sports.
Utter clown shoes. Griffin, I'm gonna send you this. This is
I gotta hear it. Did he say that on the air?
Oh, hang on a second.
I gotta hear that.
This is all Mike.
They were talking about it because I watched some of the highlights.
This is all Michael Kay. I just emailed you
throughout the entire game. Yes,
it's just utter nonsense, and it's worse from them because it comes off with the elitism. It comes off with the, this is New York. When what happens here, you guys don't matter. We matter. Like when something happens to Aaron Judge, that matters. Like it's just such effing. Yeah, do you got it? All right. Yes Network last night. This is after the second one. This was after, first of all, if you're purposely throwing at someone, you're not throwing like that. You throw it in their back. These are two balls that ran in.
Did Suarez throw both of them?
No, the first was Suarez. The second was
Suarez.
Thank you. You said it wrong first, too. You said it.
Did I?
You said, did Suarez throw both of them?
Oh, well, that's my...
Yeah,
that's because I don't have any food.
That's probably what it is.
Suarez and then who?
Is Gavin going to bring you some food?
I'm waiting.
You better.
Suarez and then who?
Aiken.
Right.
Afterwards.
Right. I thought he was talking about me when he said Gavin the first time because he calls me Gavin.
He does. That's a good point.
What is your name?
Yeah.
I totally just blanked out. I'm having some sort of weird. Something's going on today.
You're 60 years old. That's what it's called.
What is his name again?
It's Griffin.
Griffin.
Yeah.
I swear I didn't know. I wanted to say Garrett, and I'm like, no, that's your kid's name.
Nope,
and then,
but Hey, man.
I am definitely losing it a little bit.
See if Griffin,
Gavin.
Griffin Sheets can join you.
See if Gavin can join me
today.
Do I play this music
is from
here?
Yes. It's not.
He came out for the love of the game, and Glaber gets hit. All right, so Joe, now I have to ask you. I take the fifth. At what point does Brad Ausmus, or does he even have to tell somebody on the Yankees, okay, Judge, Torres, somebody's got to go down?
Yeah, usually
somebody's
a manager
doesn't
have to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's.
And certain pitchers are better
I think we got the point.
doing it.
Somebody's got to go down.
Right.
We're in such a tough situation because if you try to
high school there,
the
you set that one up perfect, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
Save that for 105.7.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
Save that for the afternoon show.
Somebody's got to go down.
Yeah.
All right. Man.
They had a designated hitter.
Yeah. Right.
They had
Right. So let me ask you this. Forget that for a second. Do you think that the Oriole broadcast team is above that? I know this is a dumb question because you don't know the answer, but what do you think the answer is?
I think they're above discussing it. No, in fact, I could say that after was it Gunnar that got thrown behind later in the game?
He got thrown up and in by Cortez.
Up and in, that's what it was.
I pulled up the yes one of that if you want to hear their reaction to that because they were like, yeah, that's a question for Cortez. That's what they were like. If That was what they
Do you
said.
think
But I wasn't watching at that point because I just finished the radio show. I was listening.
Okay.
And I do remember, like, Melanie, of all people, saying, look, if this is what you're going to do, you don't do it like that. And I'm like, jeez, we are so brainwashed.
Do you
by
think
this,
Jim Palmer would say it?
Somebody's got to go down?
Yeah.
I don't think Jim Palmer
I
would.
know exactly what he would say.
Yeah.
He would say it. He would say it way differently than that, and it would take him a minute and a half to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give them credit. They just said, somebody's going to have to get hit.
Right.
Palmer would go about it in a much different way. He would say, these breaks between innings, this is where those kind of things generally get discussed. Sometimes you don't even discuss it. Sometimes you just come over, the trainer comes over, gives you a towel, puts it around your arm, and the manager walks by and kind of looks at you, and you look at him, and you know what he's thinking. And you look down the bench, and one of your guys spits out a sunflower seed and looks over at you and says,
This actually isn't bad. This is not.
And, and you look at him, and he looks at you, and he kind of gives you the thumbs up, and he does it so that nobody else on the bench can see you do that. But you kind of know what he means, and you look over because you're not quite sure. You're in the middle of the game. You don't even really know who's coming up next inning. But then you look up, and you see in the next inning it is Judge coming up, and you. In the back of your mind, you're thinking to yourself, it's a 4-0 game. We're not hitting the ball very well. And could this be the one time maybe I ought to send a message? Meanwhile, the manager walks back by again. He pats you on the knee. And that's sort of code word for it's up to you. And that's one of the best things about baseball. It's one of the things I always liked about pitching was it is always up to you. And you also know, and now it's different because when I was there and I was pitching, I didn't allow a grand slam. But when I was pitching, I also had to hit. So it was a lot different for me. But now, when I don't have to hit, I do tend to look at it a little bit differently. Now, what happens, too, though, is in the next inning, when Henderson gets hit after I've come inside on Judge, now Henderson comes to the bench, and he gives me the glare because I've pretty much led to him getting hit, and he doesn't want to miss 4 weeks with a rib fracture. So he looks to me and says,
I don't think he would still be going. I think it would have ended by now. I think it would be over.
Sure.
I understand. I get
sure?
it. I think he would have made his point by now. And I think that.
But that's how he would bring it up.
You know what? I can't believe I'm saying this.
Yeah.
You're about right.
Right.
You're just
right.
about.
Brett Hollander wouldn't touch it because
Right.
he might get yelled at by somebody in the organization.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like
Kevin Brown, he's already been suspended.
Right.
He doesn't care.
It's good now.
Jeff Arnold, I don't know enough about Jeff in terms of his baseball.
I think they'll
savviness.
all talk about it.
Okay.
I think it's how directly do they say it, and that's the problem that I have with what the Yes Network did last night is that you're advocating for somebody being is a big difference between hey, let's talk about what's happening in this game versus advocating for somebody has to get hit.
Right.
That's baseball should be the one to step in and say no, no way. And I'm not saying that you find them. I don't know what the answer to that is. Like it's we don't do this.
Well, here's part of the problem, and I'm not pushing back on what you say, but here's part of the problem. Sometimes guys do get hit accidentally.
Yes,
right?
constantly.
But you don't as an umpire. You don't really know enough. You don't know. So you have to do one of two things. You have to treat every one of those instances like they were intentional, or you've got to allow the first one to go without any question, and then you've got to sort of kind of allow the second one to go with a stern warning, and then when the third one happens, even if that's not intentional, that guy's got to go. So the problem is the umpires, they don't know.
Well, that's where
I don't think he threw at Judge last night.
No,
I don't
think it's
I don't
nuts
see any
to think that he
reason
threw
for
at
him to
Judge.
do that.
It's insane.
The
argument is Soto runs into Jordan Westberg, and so now they feel like they've got to. But that's nuts.
I don't buy that.
It's nonsense.
I don't buy that. Now, what I will buy is Judge gets hit, and again, I'm just saying this because I don't know. Judge gets hit, and the one guy on the Yankees bench who chirps for 2 innings is Torres. and he's yap, 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 and then he gets up to the plate, yap, yap, yap,
Right.
and the Rutschman, I guess it was Rutschman catching, right?
No,
At that
it was
point,
McCann.
was it McCann?
Yeah.
McCann gives him the finger and says, "Good time here, Keegan. Go ahead."
Yeah.
Like I'm just saying that I would accept that if he would never do it. But if McCann somehow said, Torres was running his mouth the whole last 3 innings, and we just got tired of hearing it, I would go, okay. I'm not advocating you hit him, but I'm advocating that in the world of baseball, that is how those things transpire. There was no reason for them to hit Judge, none. But there might have been a reason for them to throw at Torres. I don't endorse it. I'm saying within the world of baseball, there was no reason for them to hit Judge. But within the world of baseball, there might have been a reason to hit Torres if he's yapping the whole time about Judge getting hit. And it's the old Pedroia thing. There was obviously no question that the Red Sox threw at Machado for years over that. And I think that at some point Pedroia even said,
oh, yeah.
if he would have just apologized right away, we'd have let it go.
Right, yeah.
But he didn't.
Well, it's all
so when
clown
he
shoes.
didn't,
yeah.
But no,
Right.
I agree. But I'm saying in their world, there are reasons for them to do it. They make them up, but there are reasons for them to throw at people. And they threw at Machado for years over that.
I don't believe
They're still throwing at him now. They're in Boston. And Pedroia's been gone for 10 years.
For 10, yeah, right. I don't believe that. I mean, but I don't have any. I guess what it says, I don't have any reason to believe that that's what happened with Torres last night. I
don't either.
I know what you're saying. I understand and I
Right.
hear what you're saying.
Gavin can't do it, so I'm messaging Chuck and telling Chuck 12-2.
So he's on vacation, I think.
He's back, I think, but it doesn't matter. I bothered him all day yesterday.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you're gonna have him. That's your big get for today. You're gonna have
Chuck.
You're gonna have. I got a huge guest today. It's the program director. That's who I have for today's show. I understand what you're saying. It's twofold. The first being, if that is the case, shame on them, right? Like, and I'd be the first to say that. Shame on them. Secondarily, I don't have any reason to think it's the case, but the bigger issue to me becomes what you alluded to about tonight. Tonight is anybody throws anywhere near a player tonight, then it's both teams get warnings.
No doubt.
It might be that if you throw anywhere near a player tonight, that guy's getting kicked out of the game. And that's like Cade Povich. To think that Cade Povich, in his third major league start, is going to be the guy that they say, well, go out there and drill somebody.
Right. And Garrett Cole's pitching for the first time all year.
Right.
But I will give you this conspiracy theory that they say that Boone says, unless he's been thrown out already, that Boone says to Cole, you got 60 pitches in you tonight. Like, how many pitches is Cole going to throw tonight? What's it, 60 or 70?
He threw 70 in his last rehab start, so probably they want to get him to 80. It would be my
but in
guess.
that range, right?
Yeah.
70 to 80.
Mm-hmm.
So let's pretend that comes in the fifth inning, right? 17, 18 pitches an inning. Let's pretend it comes in the fifth inning. It wouldn't shock me at all if the Yankees are up 3-0 and he's at 71 pitches, that Cole doesn't go out there and say, I'm only in for 4 more pitches anyway. Here you go there, Gunner. That wouldn't shock me at all, because Cole's like that. He is. He's like an AJ Burnett.
I hear you.
He's got a little bit of that, like, I'm a badass. I'm better than you. He's got that in him.
There's so much of that. God, it's
I know.
exhausting.
It's incredible.
So exhausting.
It's incredible.
I hate it. So it makes me uninterested in watching the game.
It's
and
incredible.
And I mean that. Like last night,
we were ahead 9-2. You guys stole a base.
Yeah. How dare you? How
correct.
dare you? Right. Just play baseball,
Right.
all of you man babies.
Right.
Like, my God, you're so pathetic and fragile.
What was the basketball thing that happened this year? I'm trying to remember. There was something happened in basketball, and somebody got
where
where
we lose our minds every time Caitlin Clark gets fouled. Is that what it is?
But somebody else got agitated about some late basket or something that somebody did. And it was like a 98-81 game,
right.
and they scored to make it 101-9. 101 to it was 98-81.
Bubble out of
yeah,
it
yeah. And they're like, well, somebody's going to have to get a hard foul tomorrow for that. And I'm like, it was going to be 101-88 or 98-88. Like, who cares?
What is wrong? They're just such children.
Who cares?
Like they are such.
The Caitlin Clark
children.
thing is getting kind of crazy, and I'm really starting to wonder. And I'm not saying this is a criticism. It isn't. It's actually more of a compliment / backhanded compliment. I'm not so sure the WNBA isn't either advocating it, pushing it, or very quietly happy with it. All the attention.
But you said they're advocating fouling her?
They're advocating getting on SportsCenter.
Well, I to the point.
I don't know that they care.
I don't think that. Well,
I
think there's two different separate entities here. I don't think the league is bothered by that discussion.
Do you think those players are targeting her?
Well, I
yes or no?
Do I think that it's possible that someone has? Sure. I think that's possible. Do I think that the examples that are being used are if you think that what happened on Sunday, where Angel Reese is obviously going for a block and Caitlin Clark switches the ball into her other hand, if you think that's Angel Reese going out after Caitlin Clark, moron doesn't begin to describe you. You have literally
agree.
No capability of thought.
I would agree with that.
You're insane.
I did not think
it's so obvious what happened in that moment.
Right.
It would require you to have the brain of a 4-year-old to think that's what occurred.
Now I will. So let me ask you this: are you saying that wasn't a flagrant foul?
No, it doesn't.
Right, they're two different arguments.
Yes, when you hit someone in the head, it requires a flagrant foul. It's like my I yell at my son about something he does. Well, that's not what I meant to do. Dude, you still have to be responsible for your actions.
I didn't mean to pee on the front yard.
Right, you did. We had to deal with that. Somebody's got you spilled it. You have to clean it up. You don't just get to say, "Well, I didn't mean to." I get it. Angel Reese wanted to block the ball.
What are your kids running away, by the way? At what age?
I don't know, 7,
14. When are they running away? No, I agree.
Angel Reese went to block the ball. Caitlin Clark switched hands. The ball wasn't there. But she ends up making contact with the head. They got to call it a flagrant foul. They did that. Everything that was over in that moment. There was literally no discussion to be had. But that's where we are. Every time there's a foul, we got to,
If targeting is going on, what do you think the genesis of it is? The money that this girl's made?
No, I don't think. I think that we're trying to make it out to be a jealousy thing. I think it's more, or about those things. I think it's way more about the way the Pistons treated Michael Jordan. You are a very good player. You're coming into a league of players. You were wildly better than anybody else that you played at the college level. That's not the case here. Caitlin Clark is not the best player in the WNBA. She might be at some point.
Right.
It's totally possible she'll become that. But she's not.
Right.
And it's them doing what the Pistons did to Michael Jordan and saying, we're going to make your life hell. We're going to make it miserable for you because you are adapting to a different league.
But I do, and I agree with that. I do. But the subset to that is I do think there's some connected envy as it relates to her walking into the league and immediately being the show pony.
I think that envy is the wrong word. I know what you're saying. I think the word is – I think there is a general annoyance about it from a lot of players. But I don't think that it's – we make it seem like they're consumed by it. I think the players do get annoyed by it. I think they get sick of being asked about Caitlin Clark in interviews. They're like, hey, we play too. Why I play for the Las Vegas Aces. Why are you asking me about Caitlin Clark?
But that is my point.
But I don't think
you're making it.
But I think there's a difference between annoyance and envy.
Okay.
Envy is consuming. Envy is I can't function. These players are largely
like you used to be with Jerry.
Exactly right. I was so envious of all of the bags of Frito Funyuns that he had in the back of his car. I just wish that I could have had that many Funyuns. It's not that I don't think that's it.
Okay.
I do think that there is an annoyance. I do think they're absolutely hey, we're fine. The league is good. We're all playing basketball. This is nonsense that's all you want to talk about is this one person. I think that absolutely exists. But to take that and to try to make it this is a causation correlation thing. To try to make it causation for why Caitlin Clark has been fouled. They're fouling Caitlin Clark because she's good.
Mm-hmm.
They're fouling Caitlin Clark because they want to see if she's tough enough to go through it. Mm-hmm. And if it changes...
I would agree with both of those things.
If it changes the way she plays, then that's a good thing for everybody else in the WNBA. if she's off her game, the way that Michael Jordan was always thrown off by the Detroit Pistons when he would face them until he went in the gym and bulked up and got tougher and was ready for it, then that's good. That's a smart strategy for all of these teams. The thing with Kennedy with Kennedy Carter, I get why we questioned it. Now, we treated it like it was the most egregious thing that ever happened in the history of basketball. It was a hip check. It was a hip check. Did you see what P.J. Washington did to Kristaps Porzingis in Game 5 of the NBA Finals?
Yeah, that was nasty.
But that happens.
Right, but that was nasty. But that was nasty.
I'm certainly in agreement that there was no reason for it, but these things happen in basketball.
But physicality, right? And this is part of what also happens in our world because we're still growing.
Mm-hmm.
Physicality amongst male athletes is looked upon differently than with female athletes.
Right.
It just is.
Right.
They're not supposed to be mean. They're not supposed to be.
How dare they go compete? How dare they go?
Correct. Well, it's not about competing. It's more about how dare they stoop to the level of cheap shots. How dare guys do it, and we just talked. We spent 10 minutes talking about it. We just spent 10 minutes talking about
the man babies from the baseball game last night. Right.
We just spent 10 minutes talking about it. That you would never find that. Well, I shouldn't say that. You do find it in women's sports, but we're appalled by it. We're appalled by these girls fouling one another and being mean. And that girl, Caitlin Clark, watch this. John Boy's got it on the website. She said the F word.
Right.
Right. She's not getting thrown out of the league for that?
How dare.
Right.
How dare.
So we are still in this. We are growing, but we are still in this part of society where we can't have these girls being mean to one another. It's just that looks terrible. But the guys do it, and it's part of sports.
Yeah, but it's also met with two other factors, right? Like it's been met by this factor of a group of people that have said, I'll watch Caitlin Clark, but I refuse to watch any of the rest of you. Like, I'm interested in her and only in her. And I think that adds to the annoyance. And it's part of the reason why, like, the argument that's made about the Olympic team, like, well, hey, this is your chance to get all these more eyeballs. Well, if these people are saying, I'm going to watch Caitlin Clark, but I refuse to watch everybody else, then what's the end game there? Like, what is the end game?
I don't follow it enough to – I didn't have an opinion on it. I didn't follow it enough, or I don't follow women's basketball nearly enough to know if she got the high hard one or not.
No, but here's what I would say.
Should she have been on the team?
It would not have been insane for her to have been on the team. It would have been nuts.
Here's the problem, though. If you put her on the team and you don't play her, now you got a whole other Pandora's box. The only way you satisfy everybody is to play her and start her and let her play 35 minutes.
Right, and she didn't participate in any of the training camps, and she wasn't
she
part
couldn't.
of it. Well, she could have, but it required her leaving Iowa, doing the things that she didn't want to do. Right. She chose that she wanted to go try to win a national championship, which was her right. That cost her in the USA basketball process.
Right.
And the players that were involved went through 3 years worth of training camps to make the Olympic team. You can say, well, tough for them.
Right.
This girl's more famous, so you're going to have to deal with that. But inherently, that's not
well, if
right.
She's more famous, that doesn't cut it. If she's a better basketball player.
That's the argument that's being made by most people. Isn't really about her being, because they know
that's
she's
why I'm
not.
asking, because I don't
The
follow
argument
it.
that's being made is she's famous. You want her there to get, this is your chance to get more attention and broaden the game.
That doesn't work.
And that,
you can't have a novelty on the team.
that's what I like. What are you going to put Justin Bieber on the men's team? I mean, is that
I've seen the men's team. Maybe
they could win with Justin Bieber? Probably.
Yeah.
They might be okay. Well, he's Canadian. I take it back. He wouldn't be able to be. He wouldn't qualify for the team. But that's like the argument. Now, there's a more legitimate argument that is she's close enough to being worthy.
Are
of
you
being
recording
on
all
the
this,
team.
by the way? Because I may have you send this over to 105.7.
Just air this later this episode. We haven't taken any commercial breaks, so I don't know if it'll work. That she's close enough to being good enough to be on the team that the other side of it should matter. That was like the smart person argument that was trying to be made. She maybe isn't one of the 12 best, but she's the 14th best.
Okay.
And because she's the 14th best and she brings additional eyeballs, that should make up the math and get her into the top 12. And it's not crazy. Like when I said this last week, it's not a crazy argument. It's not, wildly incoherent or nonsensical. It's just also not one that immediately wins. You don't just get to say, well, this makes it shameful that they left her off. Like, no, it doesn't. They took the 12 best players. They did. And Caitlin Clark's not there yet.
I don't know that, but I would say, when I say I don't know that, I don't know that. I don't know that, but I would say that you're probably right, and that's what they should do. They're trying to win a gold medal. They're not trying to curry favor with people.
If this was next year and Caitlin Clark had dominated in the WNBA for a year,
right?
And
which, by the way, she isn't dominating right now.
No, she's playing well.
She's playing well.
Right.
She's doing exactly what I think most people thought.
Correct.
She's scoring a lot of points.
Yes.
Right. Her team's terrible, but she's scoring a lot of points.
They're getting better. They've won a couple of games. Four wins now. Like but it's progress.
Just call me Mr. WNBA.
Yeah, look at you. Look at you.
Mr. Fever. I got the fever. I got the Caitlin fever.
Drew's like, there's not another golf tournament for 4 weeks that people care about. I'm going to talk about the WNBA for a little bit.
Speaking of that, I'm going to try to get Fred Funk today.
There you go. That'd be that. You know what?
That's a good
would
right?
actually that would be a decent guest for today. I could. You want Billy Hurley's number?
No.
Okay, very good. He won what was that thing called that he won?
He won a tournament down in
D.C. The Tiger
D.C.
thing, right? Isn't that still Tiger's tournament when he won it?
I think Tiger got out of that when AT&T dropped him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. The artist formerly known as Tiger Woods, that is. I see they're completely changing their rules. Speaking of people changing the rules,
but
they're utterly changing the rules.
That's totally acceptable. That is totally acceptable. I mean, the dude won 82 tournaments and he has 15 majors. You should give him a spot into all of the signature events.
I do not have an opinion about this.
Yeah,
topic.
I mean,
I don't
because you'd be wrong. There are 8 tournaments.
What if I said I agreed? I'd still be wrong?
No, you'd be right. There are 8 tournaments a year that he should be allowed to participate in because of his career legacy. He isn't going to play anyway.
That's correct.
I mean, that's the best part about it.
That's kind of the wacky bit is he's just sort of like, dude, I'm going to play in 4 tournaments. Like, it's never going to work.
Right. And
you're not going to win.
Here's what I would say. Well, 1 minute of Tiger.
I regret it. We're doing well.
Here's what I would say. I think now, as I've watched him this year, and I saw him on Tuesday of last week, I think
you were raving. You were throwing money down on him.
I think he is now resigned to where it's all at.
Oh, that he's just happy to be Jack Nicklaus now?
I think he's resigned to that.
Oh, I just say that.
I do. I think he knows.
I kind of like a-hole Tiger Woods.
No, I think he knows. I do.
That's sad.
I think, and I said this last week, everything that could have been right for him was right last week. Every single thing. There was not a thing out of place for him. Stayed on the property, literally rode a golf cart every day to the property, didn't have to get up at 5:30 because he was 45 minutes away. He was a block and a half. He was from here to Calvert Hall from the golf course. He was 700 yards from the golf course. He rode in a golf cart every day to the golf course. The weather was perfect. It was hot, which is what he needs. He got the early, late tee time draw, which is what he needed. He got a very, very favorable pairing with 2 guys that he gets along with fine, Zalatoris and Matt Fitzpatrick, neither of which generated any excitement at all. He didn't have to worry about.
They're just guys, right?
Right. He got everything he needed. And here's the thing: he did not play poorly. He shot 74-73. He on a very, very difficult golf course where 5 over sort of gratuitously became the cut. Kind of should have been 4, but wound up being 5 because winds came up and it played tough late in the day on Friday. But he actually played pretty well. And I think that is one of the reasons why I think he went home and said, holy cow, I actually got it around pretty decently. I had everything working for me. I still couldn't beat.
No.
Even if he's 2 over after 36 holes. And then if he does what Scheffler did, if Tiger would have gone 71-74, made the cut, then gone 71-71 or 71-72, I think Scotty shot, Tiger could have gone home and said, hey, man, I was kind of in this thing. Like, I needed one really good round, and I would have been okay. I think he went home and said, that was about the best I had. And it wasn't anywhere near good enough. He looked good. His golf swing looked good. He didn't putt very well. And I've been saying this for 2 years. He is no longer a great putter. He still drives the ball great. His irons are fine. He's not Tiger 2005. He is not a great putter at all anymore, and really not close to being a great putter. And that's what's hurt him. And I think this was the one tournament where he went home and said, I was healthy. I felt good.
And that still wasn't good enough.
Now, Troon will be an interesting place for him. He is not he's not played very well there in the past, but he does play links golf well. So it'll be interesting to see what he does over there. And then that'll be it for him.
All right. I'm going to let you give one more golf thought because I just want to get it all out right now so we can move on from it. But I got to remind everybody, today's show brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Live Casino Rewards members have the opportunity to earn discounts on cash and credit purchases at the casino. Join the Live Casino Rewards Club online or in person at Live today. See complete details at livecasinohotel.com. So where are you with the conversation? I wish I could remember who it was. One of the big football personalities that also likes golf tweeted out, Bryson is proving to be the one thing golf desperately needs right now, a needle mover. And after watching that, and the interesting dichotomy from how he went from the most hated man in the sport. And I was there at Caves in 2021. It was wild, Jack, like wild how electric that place became just to root against Bryson. And now the story of him being this sort of beloved figure and how his personality's changed. Does any of that matter when he goes and shows up at the next live event that no one knows where it is, what it is, anything? Like, can that work? And can there be a true needle mover in golf for people that aren't already golf people that isn't named Tiger Woods?
Okay, so
it's kind of twofold. Yeah,
I'm trying to put it all in context and order. Here's what number one, let me say this. The group of people, the group of people that are now most influenced in golf are probably Ethan's age, 16 to 26. They're the most influenced, and they're all influenced by the phone and by the internet and by YouTube, and they're influenced by guys creating content, shirts untucked, hats backwards, drinking high noons, playing golf. I'm saying this in a nice way. I'm not trying to pick on them. Think they're really good, and at their level they are, but they're not going to go play on the PGA Tour. They're good amateur players, right? They're creating this content. They play music. They tell dirty jokes. It's a frat boy thing. This is a frat boy era in golf. It's way outside of my fondness for it because I'm an old guy. I don't like hat backwards, shirts untucked. I don't like any of that stuff. I like music being played, but I don't like any of that. When that event was at Caves, we hadn't yet got into that era. We were in the era of PGA Tour still sort of dominating the landscape, and you kind of were picking and choosing who you liked and who you didn't like based on all those guys that were on the tour. The one thing I would say about Live and I am anti-Live, but the one thing I would say that it's done is it has given these guys like DeChambeau an opportunity because he wasn't getting the spotlight anymore. It's forced him to go out and create content to help his brand. Liv has done that. Liv took him out of the spotlight. He was in the spotlight at Caves Valley.
Right.
He was doing all that crazy stuff with his body, but the DeChambeau brand didn't exist. He was just a golfer who was, mercurial and a baby and a whiner and easy, very easy to pick on. When he went to Live, all that went away.
He was irrelevant. Like,
no one knew who he was.
Right.
Correct. It all went away. He then needed to create a brand. and he got away from the protein shakes, the crazy 5,000 calorie diet, hitting it 400 yards, and went back to trying to be a golfer and going through this period where he embraced the content era. So he's done a phenomenal job of that, a phenomenal job. Your question about moving the needle, he can't move the needle on live.
Right.
He just can't. No one knows. When do they play again?
Right. Who would know?
I am a P1 times 20 golf person. I have no idea when they play again. He can't he can't move the needle on live. Could he move the needle if there's some sort of an alliance that I think we all sort of kind of know is going to happen at some point? Could he move the needle if he's back?
Apparently they play in Nashville this weekend. So
Okay.
good for them.
Oh, nice.
Good for them.
Oh. Well, who
Yeah.
knew? But he's not a needle mover in professional golf. Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
But he is a needle mover in golf.
In social media golf.
Correct.
Right.
With kids like Ethan. Ethan and kids of his ilk, kids that I coach in high school,
Mhm.
they're enamored
But
with
I guess
with
we go back to this.
content.
Because when this was presented to me and I had this conversation, those are golf people still. Like, this is, to me, the separation. Within the context of this person matters for people that already like golf. Because, as I've said before...
Fred Funk, 1205.
Look at that. Look at that. That's what you're coming out of the chute with today.
That's
You're
it.
leading... You're leading
I don't have a
with...
choice. He's got a 1:30 tee time.
Oh, boy.
Let's get the golf out of the way right away.
Glad I'm not the program director anymore. Glad I'm not that guy.
Oh, hell. You think they care? They were begging us to do the show.
It's true. That is a good point.
Anyway.
Just don't get it kicked off the air today.
Yeah,
guys.
right. Yeah.
But no, what I'm saying is when we use the term needle mover, I think within that world, Bryson might be a needle mover. I don't know that Bryson DeChambeau is making someone who isn't inclined to like golf. And
you're 100% right. Stop you there because you're 100% right. And I would also add to you, or add this, that if on Sunday, this is a big if, but if on Sunday he shoots not terrible, if on Sunday he shoots 75, which was very easy to do at that golf course, we're not even having this conversation.
Right.
He played great. He finished fifth. Hey, Bryson finished fifth.
Yep.
Hey, hit some
Yeah,
great
good on the
drives.
guy, right? Yeah.
This is all a byproduct of him winning. And then a byproduct of the aftermath, which I'm probably am on the other side of the fence on this, and I'm not really a naysayer by nature. I think a lot of that the other night was for show, and was
Him going back out there
100%.
with the guy with Johnson Wagner.
and just running around over there like a maniac till 10 o'clock at night with the trophy. You would not see now. Some people might say this is a positive. If Patrick Cantlay would have won that tournament the other day, he would have done all of his obligations, and he would have been flying back to Jupiter at 8:50, and maybe 9:30. But he would have done his media, he would have done the Golf Channel, and then he would have been on a plane and gone. If Rory would have won, Rory would have done the same thing. Rory, I will add, maybe, I could see Rory venturing downtown to the Drum and Quill or one of the bars down there and having a drink with people. I could see that. I wouldn't. I don't know that Bryson did that or didn't do that, but that would have potentially been something I could have seen Rory doing because Rory has the benefit of having an airplane there at the airport to fly him home. So if Rory wants to go have a drink at the Drum and Quill in downtown Pinehurst until 11, he's home at 1:30. I think a lot of what we saw on Sunday
downtown Pinehurst.
Yeah, right. It's pretty cool, actually. I think a lot of what we saw though with DeChambeau
It's like
was
beautiful downtown Westminster, for
right.
example.
But I think a lot of what we saw with him was show, and it was him taking advantage of, and rightfully so, taking advantage of a moment. For all he knows, he may never get again. I mean, I think he thinks he's going to win again. A major, and I probably do too. He's very, very talented. But
what I would say is I enjoyed, and I look, I would never be watching the Golf Channel afterwards.
I didn't root against him because I don't do that.
I don't care.
But I didn't. I did want to see
That's what-
Rory win.
I don't
did.
care. I don't, because I don't care about golf, care about any of that.
Right.
But I liked when people started sharing the thing of him going back and doing the thing with Johnson Wagner. I was like, this is good
That
content.
was cool.
Like,
That
this
was
is a
great
good,
live TV.
Yes,
it was phenomenal live TV.
And I didn't watch it live, obviously, but I can see that that's good content. I can see that from anywhere. But it's just, this is fascinating for me because I have openly admitted time and time again, there was a time in my life where I thought I was a golf person. And then I realized I was only a Tiger Woods person. I never actually cared about golf.
Right.
And it took Tiger Woods falling out of the spotlight for me to realize that. Like, I just didn't care who won these tournaments, and I stopped watching them because I had no interest in them.
Right.
There's only ever been one needle mover for me in my life as a golfer, and it's Chi-Chi Rodriguez, and everyone knows that.
Right.
But no, that's it. Like, once Tiger was out of the picture, I just realized I'm not a golf person. And no, every time someone tries to sell me on one of these guys being a transcendent star, every time it's Rory or it's Spieth or it's, whoever it is that somebody tries to force, Ricky Fowler, this is the guy. This is going to be the one.
You got to remember, here's the thing. I don't know how you do when you do the needle, it goes from 0 to what? 100? Tiger was 100.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Tiger was a 100. If Tiger went to Thailand, it was packed.
Yes.
If he went to Germany, packed. If he
Right.
went to New Zealand, packed. Rory is an 80. Rory is an 80. When Rory goes places, Rory is a huge deal. But he's not 100. Spieth was a 60. He moved the needle, and he moved the needle with kids. And so was Ricky. I still see kids wearing orange when Ricky was a needle mover, but nothing like Tiger.
But that's what I feel
Nothing
like those
like
guys
Tiger.
are big needle movers within golf. Like, Tiger Woods could show up at the Metropolitan Opera tomorrow and the world would shut down. If Rory McIlroy showed up, a handful of people there would be like, "Oh, I know who that is. That's cool." I do think.
And you're asking, is DeChambeau going to the Metropolitan Opera and being a big deal?
It'd be
today, yeah.
Maybe
today, yeah.
Maybe because
But
he just
Labor
won.
Day?
Right? Yeah.
Nah.
Right. I understand what you're saying. I wonder why it is that no one, and is it just
Who's the
because
guy carrying the big trophy around
right.
Labor Day weekend?
Is it just because we had Tiger and now if any of these guys want to be a needle mover, they have to be Tiger, and that's impossible?
Right.
Like, why is it? Is it because Tiger was black and we had never seen that before? Why is it that no one has been able to transcend even close to that level when we talk about needle movers? And I get that within the golf world, I understand that these guys are stars, like stars. And I'll even give that the golf world on the whole became larger and more significant because of Tiger, right? Like, if golf within the grand scheme of things before Tiger was if we did it on your 100 scale, it was a 40, then Tiger, when he left, had risen it to a 60. And so there's a larger group of golf people today because of what Tiger did. And so that might make all of them a little bit more relevant than they would have been before. I could say this more eloquently, and I'm not doing it.
Golf is still very much a niche sport. Very much so.
Right.
In the golf world, what DeChambeau did was a big deal. He played great golf. Obviously, the subset to the story was McIlroy.
Right.
And
missing 2
obviously
putts.
the big argument about, did he lose or did
Right.
Bryson win? And it's like it always is. It's a pizza.
Right.
There were a bunch of reasons why DeChambeau won. Some of them were Rory, but some of them were also Cantlay,
Right,
who
sure.
had chances and didn't come through. I just don't think – I would say of all the players that have gone to live, and I said this when it happened, he was the one guy the tour – and it's funny now because it has gone a little bit full circle. He was the one guy when he left that I said, the tour might get hurt by this.
Because he had some cachet.
He's got something.
Yeah.
DJ's a wet blanket.
Right.
Reed is a cheater. He's a villain. But nobody cares about Patrick Reed. Nobody cares about Charles Howell III or Annabelle Lahiri or Carlos Ortiz and no one really even cared about Phil because Phil was 50.
Right.
This kid was the one guy that when he left, he's got something, and they're going to miss it. Now, what's happened? Nature of unintended consequences. He won this event the other day as almost an outsider because he hadn't been around for 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
2.5 years. Koepka, same way. When Koepka won last year at the PGA, it was kind of like, meh.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I remember he used to be on the PGA Tour. Now he isn't.
Right.
Like,
but it's not suddenly driving a ton of people to go, well, now I have to be in.
But their personalities are much different, as Brooks would have
Right.
told you, right? There is something about DeChambeau for sure that resonates with the younger group. It doesn't really resonate with me, but I think as all of us, as we get older and we see more and experience more and think we know more, we're all jaded. Ethan isn't jaded by Bryson DeChambeau. He thinks he's awesome. I watch it and I'm like, this guy's kind of like Mickelson on steroids. You never really know if it's on the up and up or not.
Right.
But that's how I see it. I just see it differently.
Yeah.
Right? And
You
some of
assume
that.
everyone on the planet is using steroids.
But what I was going to just say,
including
but
yourself.
some of that is what happened with Tiger. As we got older, we all kind of realized, these injuries that he's getting, these are kind of weird.
Right.
They're kind of coming out of nowhere.
I don't know. I don't know what you think you're about to say. I'm going to stop you right
No.
there.
You know what I'm going to say.
No, I know.
The same
I
thing
get
that
it.
everybody in golf has said. But there was a time when if you would have said to me, hey, Drew, you think Tiger's on PEDs? I would have said, are you insane?
Right.
No chance.
Right. No, I get it.
He's a great golfer.
I get it.
Now, when I look back on it, I'm more jaded.
Coming up today, 3 hours of Drew Forrester saying Tiger Woods did steroids.
No.
That's what you got from 12 to 3.
I think we
today
all
on
know what happened.
105.7 The Fan. We'll grab a break. Drew's here for one more.
I got to
segment.
go.
Oh, you got to leave?
Shortly.
You tell me. When do you
Well, I
need
gotta
to
get
leave?
some
Oh, you
food.
got a 12 o'clock. All right. Well, we'll take this to 11, then we'll let you go. That's what we'll do. You have anything to say about Willie Mays?
Well, no. I mean, I don't have anything to say other than 93, man. If we all get to
that's
life,
unbelievable.
if we all get to where it starts with a 9, we're good.
I feel like the only topic that's been interesting to me today is who is the greatest baseball player of all time. It's funny because my son asked me that. My son right now read a book about Babe Ruth at school and has this weird Babe Ruth obsession now. He will tell me fun facts about Babe Ruth out of nowhere.
His real first name wasn't Babe.
Thank you. That is correct. It was, of course, George.
I don't know if
Everybody
you guys
knows
know
that.
that.
No, I did.
He was actually born in Baltimore.
No.
You didn't know that.
No.
Yeah.
My son knows the name of the father at the parochial score or whatever it was that where he was raised. So he said to me recently, he said, "Dad, is Babe Ruth the greatest baseball player of all time?" And I was like, "Sit down for a second, son. We got to talk."
You including pitching because there was a guy for the Red Sox that was pretty good.
Right, Derek Lowe. Yes, I do think that he's very much in the argument. And I feel like it sort of kind of boils down to most people with Willie Mays, Barry Bonds, and Babe Ruth. It's one of those three is the greatest baseball player of all time. And I don't know what the correct answer is. So, we had somebody that was tweeting in as today.
You said Ruth, Mays, and who?
Bonds.
Oh, I thought you said Mantle. Okay, Bonds.
That.
You think Mays was that head and shoulders better than Mantle?
I think the people that can I say that? No, I didn't get to watch those guys play, but the people that watched would say yes, definitively, not close.
Okay.
The people of that era would say Willie Mays.
Well, he certainly did it longer.
He definitely did it longer.
Right.
There's no question about that.
Right.
But
no, I'm not arguing with them. I think there's an argument that Mays. See, here's the thing about.
For what it's
worth.
And
I know when I say this, I'm not going to be able to articulate it the right way. Part of
do you just for the fun of it, do you know what Mantle's career WAR was?
Oh God, no.
It was
I don't.
110.
Yeah, I don't know.
May's career WAR was
150.
156.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know how to articulate this the right way other than to say this. When we judge people on their greatness, and even when their eras don't match, which these don't. Ruth doesn't match with Mays. Mays doesn't match with Bonds. But when we do this, this is me. I'm not saying that society. I'm saying I tend to gravitate towards athleticism. I don't know why. I tend to gravitate towards athleticism. And if you said to me, do you want Ken Griffey Jr. on your team or Barry Bonds on your team? You can only have one of the two. I would not immediately say Barry Bonds. I never looked at Barry Bonds like he was a great athlete.
Well, early in his career, he was a spectacular athlete.
I know. And that's part of the problem. When he was
You're defaulting
when he was
to late
6'1",
era,
170,
yeah.
he was a specimen.
Right.
And then when he became Fred Flintstone,
and was one of the leading
not so much.
base stealers in all of baseball.
Correct.
Yeah.
I look at Mays as an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
He was an athlete.
Yes.
I don't look at Babe Ruth like he was an athlete. I know he was.
And
I know he was.
So I think it's, for a lot of people, it's easy to dismiss Babe Ruth and say he was playing against he wasn't even playing against the actual best. This goes back to segregation, right? But yet you still have to include the fact that he pitched. You can't ignore.
I mean, well, you look at the guy right now in L.A., right?
Right.
He. I mean, I say seen him up close and personal. I've seen him at the baseball stadium.
Right.
Walk out of the dugout, and you look at him, and you're like, "Holy
what
hell!
is that? Yeah.
This is like this is not
what
a human being.
What am I looking at?
Right.
Yeah.
He clearly isn't almost actually in the history of baseball, he might be an unparalleled athlete. Right? I mean, in the history of baseball,
if you consider like this era being, if part of your argument is that this era of baseball is just better than other eras of baseball, the fact that he's doing this now, you'd almost have to say he's the greatest baseball player of all time.
100%. What can't he do?
Right.
What can't he do? The only thing Ohtani hasn't done is played first base. I mean, he's done everything, right? But athleticism looks different. I don't know. To me, my argument or my support to your question would be, I look at Mays differently than I look at Bonds, and I don't know that I know why, but I feel like Mays is an athlete, and I feel like Bonds was a baseball player. If that makes sense.
I think there's something. I don't think
Willie
that's
Mays.
insane.
I think Willie Mays could have been in the NFL.
Right, that he could have done. But I think a lot of people would tell you that they think that Barry Bonds could do the same. I think that
he could have been a linebacker at the end of his career.
At the end of his career, he could have been. Well, he would have been a tight end, 100%.
Right. I don't know. And it could be. I'm first to say this. It could just be that I am so jaded by that whole 98 to 2008
that you won't. Yeah,
it's hard for me to get away from that. But I would say, and I didn't see him. I did see Mickey Mantle, although I don't remember it. But I know my mom and dad took me to see Mickey Mantle. I never got to see Willie Mays play personally, but I've seen enough of him playing to know he was an incredibly athletic, dynamic, game-changing player. So yeah, maybe in our, I always thought Suzuki, to me, was the best baseball player I had seen.
That's interesting.
But not
an obsessed, right?
Not an athlete.
I'm an obsessed Ichiro
He is an
fan.
athlete, but he's the best baseball player I ever saw.
He was such a nothing as a power hitter that I don't think I could.
And so there you go.
Like that would get into the Tony
If there's a
Gwynn
runner on third base,
yeah.
If there's a runner on third base with one out, and you said to Suzuki, "Get the run across," do you want him up? You want him up, or do you want A-Rod up?
No, I want Ichiro, of course, right?
You want
that's the guy
Ichiro
that's going
up
to
or
give
you
me
want
the
Bonds
hit.
up?
Right, I understand that.
Well, there you go. There's the argument,
yeah,
right? Now we got an argument. Now we got a debate.
Right.
Do you want Ichiro up or do you want Tony Perez up?
Ichiro probably. Yeah.
Right. But we're breaking it down now. I need a run. I need you to get this guy home. I don't care about hook or by crook. I don't care if you bunt him home. Get him home.
Or who do you want to have lead off an inning where you're down by one run?
Right,
we could have a lot of different conversations about this.
Right.
But I still think Bonds would ultimately be a correct answer in any of these scenarios.
Now, I do think baseball people, and I've had this conversation with Dave Johnson before, Dave is a little bit like you and I, or more like me, sorry. Dave's a little bit jaded because he did it for a living, right? And Dave kind of, he didn't fall victim to it, but Dave is like Palmer. He knew enough about what was going on to say, yeah, you guys are all bragging about this guy. I got news for you. It ain't on the up and up. That's Dave. But that's because he's old, like me, right?
Right.
But Dave would also say, as a baseball guy, he would say the numbers he put up as a baseball guy are absolutely unthinkable. the walks, the strikeouts or lack thereof, the 462 consecutive bats without swinging and missing at 2 consecutive pitches. Like no one does that, right? It's a little bit like the Greg Maddux stat. What is it? He had the bases loaded 189 times in his career, and 131 of them were intentional walks or something insane, right? Like these guys that are wildly out of proportion, you can't help but marvel at them.
It was 310 of the 20,421 batters that Greg Maddux faced had a 3-0 count, and 177 of them were intentional walks. So in 20,421 career, batters faced, 133 had a 3-0 count against Greg Maddux.
That's unbelievable, right? So those sorts of numbers, like the whole thing with Bonds, the didn't swing and miss at 2 consecutive pitches and 462 at bats, like that. There's no way that's an accurate stat. It's like the other day when they said McElroy was 496 for 496 on putts inside of 3 feet. You're immediately you're like, that. There's just no way.
Hang on. Apparently, these numbers might be misleading with Maddux. He faced 20,420, 644 saw a 3-0 count. But apparently there's a data problem here.
Okay.
This has been passed along as fact, and apparently people have dove into it.
Okay.
And some of it is that we just didn't keep data for counts at one point.
Gotcha.
Well,
take him out of the Hall of Fame.
Like a pitch count era.
Yeah,
right?
take him out of the Hall of Fame. Then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he stinks, obviously.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
The number is still amazing. It's just maybe not quite as amazing as what's been passed along over the years.
Well, anyway, when we get to these outlandish stats, it just belies how incredibly above average is not even the right way to put it.
Yep.
It's incredible how good Bonds was, right? Now you're going to talk about Willie Mays. Now you're going to try to throw him, into the mix. It's
and
amazing.
then how do you measure Bonds, to your point, steroids versus the belief that maybe Willie Mays didn't use steroids, but we don't know that either. We don't know. This is part of – we know that guys in a certain era were using steroids. We have no clue what anyone might have been doing, the impact of greenies, things along those lines. We don't know, so it makes it a very difficult conversation to have. All right.
David Ortiz called and said,
we don't know that he did anything.
No.
Yeah. I mean,
why would he have done
that's
anything?
why he's welcome in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and yet he wasn't.
I got to go do
best
sports
players.
talk.
Yeah, you got a big 3-hour show coming up. When you finish with us, go hang out with Drew on 105.7 The Fan. You're going to talk golf for 20 minutes, and then
I got a couple
what.
other things. I think you know this, right? Rick Ocasek went to IHM. You knew that, right? So Ben and I are going to do some cars talk.
I can't wait for Ben. I can't wait.
Oh, you know what I was thinking about doing? Because I heard this has been done before, and I heard it was pretty good.
Oh, yeah?
I might read my website.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Just go on and read. What you had at Drew's Morning Dish.
I'm going to read my website.
Jesus Christ. All right. Love you, buddy.
I will be at the National FCA Golf Camp next week, so I will see you
in 2 weeks.
Thereafter.
All right, very good. Drew Forrester, Drew'sMorningDish.com.
Get food in here.
We'll work on that. He'll be on 105.7 The Fan today and Sunday from 4 to 6 for Fairways.
4 to 5 Sunday.
I thought
I'm at the National FCA Camp. 4 to 5 Sunday.
4 to 5 on Sunday. What are we doing? All right, we still have a lot to do today. We're going to chat with Tyler Locklear of the Seattle Mariners. We're going to chat with AJ Pierzynski. We're going to chat with the great George Gervin. So a lot still to come on a Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor, dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now, and on the cover, Glenn Clark and Stan the Fan Charles sit down for a sports conversation with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, discussing the Orioles and Ravens stadium leases, the future of horse racing in Maryland, and how his own football career at Johns Hopkins shaped him as a leader. This is also our annual travel issue with information about sports tourism opportunities in Maryland for your family to take advantage of throughout the summer. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
The days are getting hotter, and so are your Baltimore Orioles. Hi, I'm Paul Valley, and you can join me and Ryan Blake on the Bat Around every Saturday at 10 a.m. as the Orioles march towards another postseason berth. With a Cy Young candidate in the rotation and multiple MVP candidates in the lineup, this might be the most well-equipped Orioles team to end a decades-long World Series drought. From the Midsummer Classic to the trade deadline and beyond, Ryan and I will be with you through the dog days of summer and into those crisp fall nights. So tune into the Bat Around every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. right here with Pressbox.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Wednesday edition of the program. And it is new Pressbox Day. I was really hoping that I was going to be able to hold it up for you and show it, but we haven't gotten ours yet. So you can go to PressBoxOnline.com and you can see it there, or start going to your neighborhood Royal Farms today, the hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox, and you can see it all there. Wes Moore, we've told you, is on the cover, governor of the state of Maryland. Stan and I went down to Annapolis a couple weeks ago and sat down with Governor Moore and discussed sports topics. We're not suddenly becoming a political publication. We discussed relevant sports. You think it might be time? Things haven't been going so well. It might be time to make the jump. Yeah. No, we talked about the leases. We talked about the future of horse racing. We talked about his own college athletics career.
Worked for Will Kane,
Did it though? Things going well for him. I'm pretty sure he's just put himself into a echo chamber. I don't think there are new Will Kane fans. I bet there are. I think they're just the same people that watch whoever's on Fox News.
So he's got new fans, yeah.
I mean, I guess it's different than the people that were watching him on ESPN. I agree with that. Look, man, whatever.
Whitlock and
he's killing it. That guy. That's the career path you want to follow, Jason Whitlock. Anyway, that issue is available. Here's, I guess, hang on a second, I'm trying to show it to you. This is I don't think it'll look good. I don't think it'll look good on the I mean, I don't think anybody will see that. This is what it looks like, the cover. I don't know how that registers.
See it. Hold on, let me see if I can.
That's the cover of the new print issue of Pressbox, which is, as I said, that makes it a little bit bigger. I get rid of that ad there. There you go. That's available today, and you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. Also, it is our annual travel issue. So lots of sports tourism information for you and your family, activities, things you can do this summer. Go check all that out. PressBoxOnline.com, and go pick up the new print issue of Pressbox wherever you find it around town, including those neighborhood Royal Farms stores. How about the Edmonton Oilers, huh? How about
we got it. We do it. We have a series. We have a playoff series.
Interesting, right? Yeah, it's nice that one of these finals is actually happening and is a thing. The Panthers tried to get back. They got back to within a goal, 4-3, and boy, what a diving hell of an effort from Matthew Tkachuk, of course, Keith's son. Matthew Tkachuk making that incredible play to prevent the late empty net goal, only for 2 seconds later to be an empty net goal anyway. Bummer.
Did you see the GM throwing things in the suite? What's his name? Zito?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't follow it. But this is the Panthers GM or the? Oh, why was he?
Well, because he was upset. Apparently, it was after the empty net goal. I thought I saved the video. Let me see if I can't find it.
Was it just the realization that they had the opportunity to clinch at home and they blew it? Was that what it was that led to this outburst, or did he think there was a bad call or something like that? That's what
I don't think there was a bad call.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything.
Bill Zito, he just chucked a water bottle after the
so he was just angry that was it. I'm gonna guess that much like the people in Boston when that series went back to Boston for Game 5. Everybody up there was utterly confident. All right, so we lost Game 4, whatever. Now it's better. We get to win at home. I'm going to guess that everybody in Florida, in South Florida, Sunrise, Miami, whatever, felt the exact same way. Like, okay, so we lost Game 4. That might be better. Now we get to win at home. And then you lose at home, and then you're like, oh, no. Oh, no. And it starts to hit you that you might be in real trouble now. Like, everybody can say, hey, you get one more home game to try to clinch, but, like, if you go back to Game 7 having lost 3 in a row in the series, and now the weight of is it how many? It's not
happened.
I know it's happened.
Yeah.
How many teams in NHL have blown a 3-0 lead? All right, here we go. In hockey, it's happened once in the Stanley Cup Finals. It was the Red Wings blowing a 3-0 lead to the Maple Leafs in 1942. Now, but it's happened 3 times since then in the playoffs, just not in the Stanley Cup Finals. Hockey is where it's happened the most. Like, it has happened a lot in hockey in comparison to everybody else. It's happened 1 time in baseball and 0 times in the NBA. So all of a sudden, you got to come back to Florida with carrying that weight with you. Like I would almost say their better chance of winning the series is Game 6 on the road than it is Game 7 at home. All of that. It is pointed out that there have been 5 other times in hockey history that a team has blown a 3-0 lead, gotten to Game 7,
and they won.
And won anyway.
Okay.
So, like, the history actually says
that it happens.
Yeah.
Not often, but, like, it happens.
Yeah, it's weird. It happened twice in 2011. The Blackhawks had a 3-0 lead against the Canucks, then blew it, and then won Game 7. The Red Wings had a 3-0 lead against the Sharks, blew it, and then won Game 7. It's kind of crazy. But, yes, at least we get a few more games. Unlike the NBA, at least there's something. The next one's Thursday night, right? That's the.
Is it Thursday or Friday?
Oh, if it's Friday, that sucks.
It does.
Oh, I'm out. I'm out again. Take it all back. Yes. I think you're right. It is Friday. Damn it. Because Thursday we don't have a baseball game. The Orioles play in the afternoon, so I could use something better to watch. By the way,
Clipped.
I watched it.
The new episode?
Sucks just as much as all of the rest of them. Terrible teller.
Right, now I have to watch it on my own.
Yeah, sorry. It's awful. Just awful. Game 6 is Friday. Damn it. I was looking for that for Thursday night because I really have nothing else to watch.
Orioles played 8 Friday night, too.
Yeah. Oh, it's not an Apple game. It's just because it's in Houston.
Yeah. It might be an Apple game.
No. Then it's not Apple this week.
Okay.
No,
not Apple.
That's what I said. I don't know if you heard. I said it was an Apple.
Friday is not an Apple game.
And then it wouldn't be Sunday either. Damn it! Sunday night, we don't have anything to watch either. What the hell are they doing? Oh, because they probably thought that was going to be Game 7 of the NBA Finals, so they didn't want to. Can't we just move it now? Can't we just, now that there's no NBA, can't the NHL just go in and say, hey, guys, we really screwed this up. Let's get Thursday and Sunday lined up, please. Damn it. And when does the College World Series? College World Series
Friday
final is Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. Because, again, they were worried that Sunday night was going to be NBA Finals Game 7, so they didn't want to schedule against it. yeah, we got to fix this.
They're not allowed to change that?
We got a problem. Everything's happening. The Euro's going on. Although Copa Americas does start this week. When do the Americans play?
I think they play Sunday night.
That would be
Hold
good
on.
news. That would be the one good news that would come out of all of this is if we got a little Copa America action. Hang on, I'll tell you in 2 seconds. It is Sunday, 6 p.m. Yep,
Okay.
against Bolivia. So it's not really. It's Sunday twilight. It's not really Sunday
Have
night.
an early Sunday night, I guess.
It'll be over by 8 o'clock. We'll have nothing to watch again. Could watch Uruguay, Panama at 9 o'clock, I guess. That would be an option. Do I have one of those teams? If I do, maybe I'll watch it.
Uruguay, Panama.
Is there a game going on right now? Should we have?
Just ended. I believe Croatia won. They beat Albania. Albania again scored early.
What's going on with Albania?
They scored in the 11th minute, and then they held a 1-0 lead for about an hour.
Wow.
And then
Croatia.
And then Croatia. Oh wait, no, they scored a goal in the 5th minute of stoppage time.
Whoa.
Draw. Albania
Whoa.
and Croatia.
2-2. Have you been doing a good job of updating?
I have been. I'm updating it right now.
Okay.
On Croatia, Albania.
So is that good news or bad news? Is the question. Like who does that impact?
I don't know who has who. Let's see.
Hang on.
I'm entering-
Proctor has
updating.
Croatia. So at least they didn't win.
I have Paraguay, by the way.
Well, then I'm not rooting for you. Proctor has Croatia, but he, for the moment, moves
Jeremy
into
has Albania.
Jeremy has Jeremy could be in some
Steals a
trouble.
point there.
Oh, that's a good point. He does steal a point. So Proctor moves into the moment to a top of the table by himself with 7 points. But he could have had 9. So that is good news for us because we don't. I think everybody agrees we don't want Proctor to win. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
It'd be
it'd be great if he lost.
It'd be the best. The best possible scenario. Has he ever actually lost a bet before? Has he had to pay? I'm sure he has. We've been doing this for way too long for that not to be the case. All right, and where are we with the bets that need to be paid off?
Let's see. Jeremy, obviously.
Yeah. What are you talking to him? Are you working on that?
I have to see Creed.
Yeah, you got to see Creed. Have you bought your tickets?
Not yet.
What's going on, man?
I mean, like I'm gonna do it.
I never know with you. It seems like it might be you might quit the day before. Like, yeah, I'm going to the show.
It's not a bad idea.
Quit the day before. But you understand, if you quit, you still have to go. It doesn't get. This happened to Paul Valley once. He had to go see Limp Bizkit, and I think he enjoyed it. Had the time of his life. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, John's just had the most games played, I think.
All right.
He's got
All right. Fair enough. And then there was something else I wanted to cover.
Joe.
Yeah, Serpico. Serpico still owes us. Get on. Would you get on that?
Okay.
What are you doing over there? You gotta do some producing.
Okay.
Produce some spaghetti and ranch. Was that what it was? Spaghetti and ranch?
Nick has Germany playing Hungary in an hour.
He has both of them?
No, he has Germany.
Okay, and who has Hungary?
And then he also has Scotland.
Kyle
at the
has.
3 o'clock game.
Yeah, that's a bad 3 o'clock game today. It's Scotland and who?
Switzerland.
Oh, I've got Switzerland. Let's go, you Swiss.
Big game.
Ladies and gentlemen, chocolate, watches, cheese. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Swiss.
Switzerland only minus 118 on the money line.
Let's go. Swiss miss, baby. We're all in.
Maybe the plus 240 on the draw there.
Let's go,
Scotland.
Federer. The whole thing. Swiss things. Who's the king of the Swiss? What you got?
Scotland needs a win.
Come on, what you got?
What? Oh, we're doing.
Yeah, king of the Swiss.
Swiss Alps.
Can I use any of the ones I've already used? Swiss cheese.
Oh, you just yelling all out there.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll do Swiss Miss, right?
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. That's fine. Roger Federer.
There should be another tennis player I should be able to name, right? Maybe not.
Oh, there's one.
Iga.
Ooh.
She's
No,
Swiss.
she's not Swiss.
Darn it, where is she from?
Polish. Yeah. So
Can
sorry.
we pause the game?
Pause. I'll give you a pause. No, because you're gonna start looking things up on the internet. Not gonna allow that. Another major champion, multiple, in fact, major champion that has won in the last 10 years, I believe. Still, right? I have to do the math. It's 2024 now. Men's. Oh, actually, you know what? There is a female major winner too. That's from Switzerland. It wasn't Iga. It was a few years back. Yeah.
A few years back.
You got to go a few years back. She's been retired for a little bit now.
Oh, well, I'm not gonna get it.
She's a hell of a player, though. Try to remember exactly how many she won. She won. One, two, three. She won 5 slams. She won the Australian Open. Never won the French.
I don't think I'm gonna get it.
She won all of them between 97 and 99. Martina Hingis.
Oh,
Martina
sorry,
Hingis,
that.
5-time slam winner.
See if I can
5-time. And more recently, Stan Wawrinka. Stan Wawrinka, 3-time slam winner.
Yeah, I'm
Very
maybe.
much Swiss. Very much. Go ahead, say it.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I got distracted there.
Go ahead, say it.
Say
it.
I don't want to see it.
Say the words.
No.
Say the words,
Aren't
Griffin.
there democracy anyway?
Say the words. Say it.
You're.
Say it.
What are you, the prime minister?
No.
of
Say the words.
Switzerland?
Say the words. Say it.
You want me to say you're president?
No, I want you to say I'm the king of the Swiss. Say it.
You are mayor of Switzerland?
Griffin, we got to get to our guests. Say it.
I mean, you're barely the king.
No.
Of Switzerland.
Say the words.
I mean, that's what
Say
you are.
say Glenn, you're the king of the Swiss.
You're no,
Say it.
You're the king of you're king of Swiss things.
I'll take it. Joining us now here on GCR. It's a pleasure to welcome this guy back to the program. We're not going to be silly any longer. Really happy for him as he is a native of Abingdon, Curley alum, and just over a week ago, he made his MLB debut for the Seattle Mariners. It's a pleasure for us to welcome back to the program Tyler Locklear, who's with us now here on GCR. Tyler, it's Glenn. It's good to catch up, man. Thank you for taking the time, and congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Man, this moment that I have no doubt that you have dreamed of your entire life, what does it actually mean in comparison to your dreams? Like, what is it like when you actually take the field as a Major League Baseball player?
I mean, you hit it right on the nail. Just dream come true. Just taking all that in, just all the emotion from really all the work you've put in, and just all the long car rides and baseball tournaments and pretty much everything just all comes together, and you just step out on that field, look up, and just take it all in.
How long do you soak that? By the first at bat, are you already like, okay, no, I'm just a baseball player. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be, or is there still some of that going on? Maybe even now that you're 10 days into your career.
It still goes on. You never really want to take it for granted. So just taking it all in every day, going to all these new stadiums and playing all these different teams. You really never want to take it for granted and just really appreciate the moment every day.
Tyler, it's still, I don't want to say uncommon, because there have been a lot of players from our area and kids that play in the MIAA that have made it, but it's still not overwhelming, right? What do you think was different about you, your path, your drive? How were you able to get here?
It's really just all about keeping your head down and just having a really good circle of people staying on me every day just to keep putting the work in, helping me out with ground balls, BP, all that. So really just having the tight circle that I had and having them in my corner support me every day really helped me out.
You, how much does it help when you come up, right? That you don't have to go through a prolonged slump, that you get it out of the way, get that first hit out of the way immediately, crush a ball, that you don't have to think about and have that weigh on you for a little while, getting that first hit or even that first home run.
Yeah, it definitely helps a little bit. It lets you step back and take a little bit of a breath, hey, I did it. And just being able to help out the team, it was really cool to just have all them, watch them jump out of the dugout and congratulate me like they did.
Dude, what's it like to hit a ball the way that? I know this sounds like a dumb guy question, man, but it's something that the overwhelming majority of us will never be able to feel. What is it like to hit a ball 100 miles an hour off a major league pitcher in front of a packed stadium?
It's something else. It's a feeling that you never lose, and you just love doing it every time, and it just really catches you off guard a little bit every time, no matter how long you've been doing it. It's a really cool feeling.
The video is wild to me, and I've watched it a couple of times. It obviously was a huge game, and you have this incredible crowd. Do you, again, are you just playing baseball in those moments? Is it just the exact same as when you were a kid in Harford County? Or, does something about that moment, the size of the crowd, the energy, something like that add to it, fuel you in a way?
It's definitely a little more elevated of a game just because you're at the level we are now. And then just getting all the advice that I got from the older guys like Mitch Garver, Julio, Haniger, all those guys, they told me to take it all in and then just go be a kid and play baseball because that's what you're here to do.
Man, that's cool. Tyler Locklear is with us here on GCR. The pride of Curley, now with the Seattle Mariners. Tyler, your path, right? Every step along the way, was there a moment for you that you look back on and say, I knew then that I was going to have the chance, that it wasn't just like a crazy, that I really did have a chance to play at the major league level?
You never really know, honestly, just because it's baseball and it's a weird game. Like this time last year, I wasn't even playing baseball because I broke my hand, so I was out for 2 months. So you just never really know, and you just really try to keep your head down and just keep working. And then when you get the call, just try and be ready for the opportunity.
Yeah, obviously, you bring that up from last year. You obviously went pretty high in the draft. I remember talking to you then. Like, did that give you fortification in that moment? Like, okay, like I'm on the path. Like I know they believe in me. I know they wanted me. You don't go in the top 60 in the draft if somebody doesn't think you're a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, it definitely helps a lot. Just knowing that the Mariners kind of had my back, and I was just thankful for them to select me. And once you get in, everybody has a chance at that point. So it starts becoming a little more real, and that's really when the work starts to pick up.
What'd you do with the balls? Like from the first hit, did you get the first home run ball back? What's the story on those?
I got all of them back right now. They're sitting on my dresser back at home in Washington right now. So just trying to figure out what to do with them.
I was gonna say, do you
how
have
to distribute them.
Do you have a plan? Like, how many people do you know you need to get some sort of significant memento to?
Definitely a couple. My dad and grandfather probably.
Yeah.
So, might have to pick which one gets which.
Can you tell me about that? Like so I happen to have known your dad for a long time, right? Like that. This was Father's Day this weekend. That always comes off to me like it's particularly unique. And to take nothing away from other members of your family, but I got 2 sons right now. They're 9 and 7. They're both playing baseball, and like baseball throughout history have always like shared this father-son thing. What's that phone call like when you get to tell him? And has he been out? Did he get to be there for Father's Day? Anything like that?
Yep, everybody was able to come.
That's awesome.
I left 13 tickets on that first day, and then he came on Father's Day, and just making that phone call that was like a dream come true. Just with all they did and all the sacrifices they made. So just having them be able to come out and share it with me was awesome.
Dude, that's so cool. That's so freaking cool, man. That's the stuff that people dream of, bro. And living the dream is such a freaking cool thing. Tyler, you mentioned some of those guys that you've been able to have you had to have like a pinch me moment where you've had to be like, dude, that's Julio Rodriguez. Like, have you had to have one of those yet where you're like, dude, you got to stop and realize like exactly what it is that I'm doing in this moment?
Thankfully, I was able to go in the big league camp this year.
Get some of that out of the way.
Kind of meet all of them and get all those jitters out of the way playing with them. So getting to know them and going to a familiar locker room made it a little easier. But having them kind of sit with me and talk me through like their debuts and just give me advice on how to approach it and just giving me all their little secrets, it was nice to have.
That's really cool, man. What about like has there been a pitcher that you faced yet that like it's really struck you like, oh my god, dude, I'm going up against so and so?
Just all of them, honestly. They're just all the guys you watch on TV. Like last night we faced Tristan McKenzie. We got Garrett Kershaw the other night, Nathan Eovaldi last week. It's just taking it all in and just really kind of seeing you're living the dream and playing these guys like in video games and watching them on TV. Like it's really cool to actually be on the same field as them.
That's awesome, man. I know the Orioles are headed out there in July. Thankfully, there isn't a return. And I say thankfully because I'm sure you'd be excited about coming back, but I'm really nervous that like everybody else, like our buddy Gavin Sheets, that like every time you come to Baltimore moving forward, you're probably going to end up hitting like 5 home runs in each series. I'm a little bit worried about that. Have you started to think about what that moment is going to be like the first time you get the opportunity to make the trip back here and play?
It'll definitely be really cool just being back home and then just trying to see the amount of people that'll come out and just all your friends and family, just seeing them. We got a couple guys out here in Cleveland that have been able to do that. I think Luke Raley's got like 80 people coming tonight. Cool. So just trying to have that happen in Baltimore would be really cool to see.
That's really cool, man. Tyler, I can't say I'm excited for you nearly enough. Let me just touch on this, right? Your message, kids growing up here, that say, hey, I like playing baseball, I have a dream, but everybody tells me it's impossible, right? What would be your message to a young person who's playing baseball right now about the possibility of this happening for them?
I'd say, honestly, just block all that noise out and keep your head down and just work hard. You get in what you put out, so you get out what you put in. So just trying to keep that mindset and just working hard and just letting kind of the cookie crumble and just keep going and don't ever give up.
And anybody else, you mentioned your dad, your grandfather, anybody else back this way, someone that was a coach, a teacher, somebody like that was particularly impactful for you on your path to this point?
Definitely Brooks Norris, my high school coach, Sean Stifler, my college coach, Rich Whitten, another college coach of mine. Just those guys believing in me and trying to get me to the next level. They kind of had the vision when I didn't, so and pushed me every day with helping me out with ground balls and BP and all that and teaching me the game. They were really impactful to me.
It's awesome, man. I know that this is just the first step in the process too, right? Like I can almost hear like, yeah, this is cool, but like you got a lot more that you want to accomplish before all said and done. This is just where things start, right?
Yeah, we got a little bit of a playoff push going right now, so we're trying to keep the pedal down on that.
I appreciate that, man. And who knows, maybe that would be the first time you end up back here in Baltimore. And how insane!
Yep.
My God, dude, how insane that would be if that ends up being the case. Tyler, I feel like you've kind of gone like radio silent on social media for the most part, right?
A little bit.
I would still tell everybody at Tyler_Locklear13 on Instagram, at Tylock13 on Twitter. Those are the ways that you could go about following him. Dude, so happy for you. So happy for your entire family. It's awesome, man. We will be rooting for you forever other than the times that you're playing against the Orioles, and we hope that you know that. And it's certainly not personal. Thank you again for taking the time for us, bro, and best of luck moving forward, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
That's Tyler Locklear, pride of Abingdon, and off to a great start as he just made his debut with the Seattle Mariners. And, dude, that guy can crush a baseball. That guy can hit the crap out of a baseball. Very happy for him and everything that he has accomplished and everything that he's going to accomplish moving forward. All right. If you missed it, Stan the Fan, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson got together yesterday. Normally it's on Mondays, but they did it yesterday, and you can find that show right now, facebook.com/PressBoxSports, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. No Stan and Eric show this week. Stan's out taking the print issue around town. He hasn't even gotten it to us yet, so, he's got stuff he's doing. But that show will be back again starting next Thursday. And when we come back in, we are going to catch up with AJ Pierzynski. We'll talk about the events of last night. We'll talk about what the Orioles might need to do pitching-wise so that, when they play a big series against the Yankees, they don't have to throw Albert Suarez and Cade Povich. Although hopefully Cade Povich goes out and shoves tonight.
Povich is going to shove up here.
Hopefully I am rooting for that. Talk to AJ Pierzynski next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hagerstown, Maryland, a snapshot of American history that dates back centuries. Today, the roots of the city expand with another historical moment, the grand opening of Meredith Park, Hagerstown's new event stadium and home to the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Experience the energy, culture, and adventure. Plan your getaway today at America's newest and most innovative ballpark. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland. Visit Hagerstown.com.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The Ed Block Courage Award Foundation has been working in partnership with the NFL for 46 years to support abused, neglected, and at-risk youth across the country, partnering each team with a children's facility or program that supports the well-being of those in need. Annually, one player from each team is selected by their peers to receive the Courage Award for their inspiration on and off the field. Learn more about how the Ed Block Courage Award Foundation makes a difference, and be sure to check out their latest podcast and web series episodes at edblock.org.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Garrett. That was funny. That was funny earlier. I didn't mind that. Gavin. Back in here on GCR. We continue along on a Wednesday edition of the program. Had to do this a little bit earlier on today because of his schedule with, a show that perhaps you've heard of. But really appreciate the opportunity to catch up with former MLB catcher AJ Pierzynski here on GCR. You guys know I'm actually a huge fan of the show Foul Territory with Scott and Eric and our next guest, among others, as he is, of course, a former All-Star catcher, a World Series champion, and it's a pleasure for us to welcome into the program AJ Pierzynski, who's with us now here on GCR. AJ, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
No problem. How you guys doing?
Everything is good other than, the baseball game last night. Everything is good here in Baltimore. Before I get to, because a lot I want to cover with you, all of the stuff between the Orioles and the Yankees last night, like it started with the, Soto running into Jordan Westberg and then a couple of pitches inside. None of it came off like egregious to me, right? Like none of it came off like I think, but it just seems like in baseball, whenever anything is out of place, we always escalate things and make it seem like it's life and death. What did you make of all of that? Is there any reason to think that carries over?
No, I don't think anything was intentional. I mean, obviously I saw the hit pitches and Judge. I don't think we've heard whether he's injured or not. But, I think Judge got hit, Gleyber got hit, the Soto thing. I think sometimes, especially when it's a rivalry a little bit, which the Orioles and the Yankees have now become because the Orioles are good, things get made out of nothing. And you got to pitch Judge inside, you got to pitch Gleyber inside, and I don't think it was anything egregious. I just think it's part of the game, especially in a division where you have to play each other so many times. I think you run into these kind of things, and they become bigger than what they should be, and we'll see tonight, but I think that we know carryover, and tonight's a new game.
I appreciate that, and I certainly hope that's the case, and I certainly hope the Orioles offense comes to play. It won't be easy against Garrett Cole. I know you guys talked a lot about it on your show yesterday, and one of the reasons why I was not as quite, champing at the bit as everyone else was for this series between the Orioles and Yankees is because I looked and I saw it's Albert Suarez, it's Cade Povich, Cole Irvin going for the Orioles, and it feels to me, and Suarez was a mess last night. He's been a nice, pleasant surprise, but I think there's a limit to what it is that you can expect from it. It feels to me like that screamed out the Orioles desperately need to acquire another top-ish starting pitcher if they really want to make a run towards winning a World Series.
Well, I agree, especially if Bradish is out for a long time. I mean, they've already lost Means. They've lost Wells, right? I never always say his wrong. I want to say Colombo, but that's not right.
Danny Coulombe.
Yeah. Because I have a buddy that's named Colombo, so it always just comes out. Those guys are injured right now, and then Dean Kramer, once he comes, so they definitely need to look at the trade market and figure out. Now they went out and got Corbin Burns, which ended up being a great trade so far for them, and also, for the Brewers too. Let's not forget the Brewers are. Joey Ortiz is doing great things for the Brewers. So, I think the Orioles need to go out and make some sort of a move. I don't know what that is, but they definitely need a starter. And then because you can't count on Burns and Grayson Rodriguez 2 out of 5 days. You need other guys to step up. And right now, if you look at the pitching matchups in this series, now I know Grayson and Corbin are pitching. Nestor, Garrett Cole, and I believe Luis Gil are pitching for the Yankees. And then, it's a different story for the Orioles. So I definitely think they need to go out and make a move if those guys aren't going to be healthy, especially if they want to make a deep run in the postseason.
And again, to your point, like, it feels like to me this is I'm not trying to say it's this year or bust for the Orioles, because we all know like the talent is there and is going to be there for some time. We'll see if they extend some of these guys at some point. But like, you went out and made the move that you did for Corbin Burns. Like, this year has to matter. He's here for this year. You guys know, you had him on the show. He told you, like, I'm going to free agency. This is the way it's going to go. Like, you have to try to capitalize on this 1 year that you have with Corbin Burns.
Well, 100%. And every year that goes by that you don't, get to the World Series or win is another year you lose and all these guys.
AJ Pierzynski is with us here on GCR, as he is, of course, one of the hosts of Foul Territory, which you can watch every day. AJ, I know you had been talking last week. Sorry, AJ, I think we lost you there for a second. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry.
No worries about it. You were talking about, obviously the nature of this being the 1 year that the Orioles have with Corbin Burns.
Yeah, and also it's another year where you lose control of Adley and lose control of Gunnar, right? Because if they're not going to sign them, then you just keep losing years.
Yep.
And that is not a way to run this organization, because you built for these moments, right? The last few years you tanked and made all these draft picks, and these are the moments you're looking for. So you got to go out and do something, do everything in your power to make this a winner. Because right now the city of Baltimore is excited, fans are excited. You got a new owner who's going to put money in. So I think now is the time to strike. The problem is who's out there and who can you go get with, because it's a seller's market, because there's not enough teams, especially in the National League, that are completely out of it, that don't think they have a chance.
Yeah, the entire league is within like 2 games of a wild card spot at the moment. It really is wild. To your point, obviously everybody's like pointing at the Chicago White Sox, because that's the one team that that is definitely out of it and is willing to make trades. The pitchers that stand out are Fetty and Crochet. Everybody's hot and bothered about Crochet, and it's going to cost you a lot. I actually wonder, and it was brought up to me by your friend Eric Kratz, that given his innings concern, would that be the wrong direction for the Orioles to look for a guy that would help them win the World Series? Might it actually be more plausible for them to be in the Eric Fetty market than to be in the Garrett Crochet market?
It depends on what you're looking for, because nobody knows what limit Crochet's on, right? Because he hasn't ever been a starter, and he did have Tommy John not long ago. So I think that's the big question mark, is what kind of innings limit is he on? Because the big thing is, will the White Sox, burn up those innings and be like, oh yeah, we'll trade him, even though knowing that he's down to his last few innings, and other teams might not know that. That'd be sneaky and not cool of them to do. But
right.
I mean, teams have done worse, right, in trades. And then Fetty's been good, man. He was a KBO MVP and Cy Young last year, so you kind of know what you're going to get, and he'll go out and take the ball every 5th day, and he knows the DC area, obviously pitching for the Nats. So, I mean, listen, and he's what he's making next year. So that, to me, is the more valuable piece right now. Now, does Crochet have a higher upside? Absolutely, but not if he's on a innings limit.
Yep. No, you're torn, right? Because you're looking for a guy that could maybe be a top of the rotation guy post Corbin Burns, and Crochet might be that guy. But you're also trying to win a World Series right now, and I don't know how much he helps in that capacity. You brought up before, because I also know that you think the Orioles need to work on the bullpen, but you brought up Adley a second ago, and I'd love to get your perspective. Like Adley's numbers this year, when he's catching versus when he's the DH, it's insane. Like, his numbers as a DH are through the roof. Like, an over 1,000 OPS, it's crazy to me. You are certainly someone who understands this. Does it make sense to you that Adley is that much better of a hitter when he's the DH as opposed to when he's behind the plate?
Yeah. I mean, for me, listen, I felt like it was the other way. I felt like I was a better hitter when I was catching, because I was more involved in the game.
Interesting.
But Adley's been DHing probably his whole life, right? We never really had a DH when I was a kid, coming through the minor leagues, or even when I was in the big leagues, we always had like a bona fide DH. So I always, in order to get in the lineup, I had to catch. So I just became used to it. And then when the few times I got to DH, I was like, man, this feels like 4 pinch hits. But he's used to it, and it makes sense, because if you're used to it, and he doesn't have the mental toll of having to catch and have to deal with the pitchers, he's just like, all right, I got to go hit, and that's my job. So, yeah, it totally makes sense because he's that good. Also, yeah, that makes pretty darn good.
Right.
I mean, he's a really good player. So it's not like, you're taking some guy that's should be in AAA or AA out there and sticking him in the DH spot. I mean, this guy's an above-average hitter no matter where you put him. So, I mean, it totally makes sense, and I can see why he'd be better this way. But at the end of the day, it's 1 year, right? So we'll see. But, I mean, listen, catching takes a toll on your body mentally and physically. So, yeah, it's probably a break for him mentally, and he just go out there and try and swing it.
AJ, you guys were talking last week about the Orioles bullpen, and I get that we're almost going to get to a point where say they need to do everything, but it's the other part that I think as good as Craig Kimbrell and as well as he's looked as he's bounced back from his early season struggles and he's put together a really nice stretch here in the last couple of weeks, I too have like serious concerns that Craig Kimbrell at 35 years old is a guy that you're going to be able to trust with the workload that perhaps will be necessary to be that specific ninth inning guy when you go try to win a World Series. It feels like, based on what we saw a year ago in Philadelphia, I don't know how you could have that trust that he's going to be that guy.
Well, you just hope he's hot when you go into the postseason, right? Because he goes through those downs, and the downs are really low. But when he's hot and he's going well, I mean, he still does what Craig Kimbrell does, which is just punch dudes out left and right. So you just hope when it comes time for him to get in the postseason in the ninth inning and it's a one-run game, he's on a high. But I love Craig Kimbrell. For me, he's a Hall of Famer. And he's got so many saves and so many special things. He was a tough at bat. But yeah, you also got to take pressure off of him, right? I know you have Cano and you have some other guys down there, but man, think about if you could get a Ryan Presley or somebody like that could come in and give you the eighth or maybe save a game if you need him to. It's such a boost for everybody because it slots everybody back to just a little bit less pressure. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, it goes back to who's out there, though. Who do you look at and say, man, this guy can help us. This guy can help us. This guy's worth it. That's the question for me is who's worth it? Because the Orioles have had a pretty decent bullpen this year. When Craig's good, obviously the bullpen is better. But, who's out there they can go get and what do they think they need to make a deep run? And that's what Mike Elias gets paid the big push for.
By the way, the point that you made there, where maybe it's not that you specifically have to get a different closer, but just someone else who could be a closer to try to limit the workload that you're asking of Craig Kimbrell. I'll listen to that wholeheartedly, right? That could be the way that you go about skinning this cat. Before I let you go, AJ, if I could, because it was such a big story yesterday, the news that the AAA is going to go to the challenge system in all games now moving forward, and it seems like that's going to be the final stop before it comes to the major league level. What's the number of challenges? Like, how do we, if we accept that it's going to be the challenge system, how do we make sure we do it the best way moving forward as far as how many challenges a team gets?
I don't know the number because I haven't really paid that much attention to it. I think they get 3 in the minor league.
So apparently in the international league, it's only going to be 2, which seems like that's almost like, that's crazy to me that it would only be 2.
Yeah, that does seem crazy to me. Now, 2 seems insane to me, but wow. Yeah, then how do you choose who gets them? Let's say, no offense to Cedric Mullins or Mateo, they're hitting 9th in your order, right? How do you make the distinction who gets what, right? Who gets those badly rushmen, use those 2 and Mateo's wrong or someone's wrong, McCann's wrong and you give it the tap and they're wrong, you lose your 2 and then the 9th inning you have Adley up and he gets 1 and he wants to challenge and he's got nothing.
Right.
How do you make that distinction?
That's why it feels like it should be at least like 1. To me, it feels like it should be 1 per inning. And I get that somebody would say, hey, we don't want to keep stopping the game so much. Well, these don't seem like they're taking all that long. I don't think this suddenly makes the games go back to being 3.5 hours long, and not everybody's going to use a challenge in every inning. It just feels like you're going to end up putting yourself in a position where you think that you're doing something to better the game, and then you're still going to have like marquee balls and strikes calls that go miss because a team's out of challenges at that point if you don't have enough.
No, I agree. And again, it's going to be interesting to see the strategy of it. And I like what they've done. I mean, it's fast. I mean, the challenges I've seen it go fast.
Right.
They go by pretty quick. I mean, they tap their head and it's gone pretty quick. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I want to see how it plays out in AAA. Now, AAA isn't the be-all, but you'd think they would have a good idea after a year or 2 of this. But I don't want to see umpires go completely away where they just go to total, ABS where it's automatic balls and strikes. I'd rather have a challenge system where we at least can get a little bit of arguing.
You do. Players love that part of the game, right? Like you can't give that up entirely. You got to be able. You got to be able to turn around and jaw with somebody, right?
You got to be able to argue something with somebody. We're taking away everything. Replay's taking away all the calls in the field. We always had balls and strikes. Well, now they take that away. What's left?
It's so funny you say that. I remember after replay came in, Buck Showalter at one point just sort of out of nowhere said to us like, I really miss yelling with those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just part of the game. AJ, of course, Foul Territory every day. You can watch live on YouTube. Is there anything else that we can plug for you, man?
No, just tune in on Fox on Saturdays. Where am I this weekend? I got to think. I'm in San Diego, Milwaukee, San Diego, and then next week I'm in Baltimore when the Rangers come to town.
Awesome.
So, look forward to a trip there.
Awesome. Yeah. Look forward to that. Can't wait to have you here. AJ Pierzynski, thank you for taking the time for us this morning, man. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
AJ Pierzynski here on GCR. Yeah, 2 challenges is going to be the number in the net. And apparently, they're doing that specifically as a test. Baseball, they're right to be concerned about this because, as we pointed out over and over again, the game moving quicker has worked. It has been wildly beneficial for baseball to have the games go quicker. The product is tremendous. The replays don't seem to take that much time. I really don't like the idea of you run the risk of this being, trying to fix the pass interference thing from the Saints and the Rams, and then the first high-profile one, it isn't fixed because that team's out of challenges, and everybody just says, well, if it doesn't fix this, then why have the system at all? 2 ain't enough. 3 ain't enough, which is what it is everywhere else in AAA. But, yeah, the news yesterday, AAA baseball, every game will have the challenge system starting in late June, which makes people think that could be next year. It could be next year that the challenge system comes to Major League Baseball, which isn't a full solution, but certainly better than nothing. So we start with that.
I don't know. I almost expect it. I feel like by next season, just the way I feel like they've moved so quickly with all the. Well,
I think that's them rushing to this right now, saying right now we're switching. Everybody's doing a AAA. Says to me, they want it at the Major League level next year. They want to get this figured out, work through all of the kinks, all the bugs, whatever it might be, and get it all ready to go. All right, this summer, and yes, high school sports season is over, obviously, but you can still get all the latest in news, information like coaching changes, and start previewing fall sports, including high school football at countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise?
We're going to get a tidbit, we're going to get tubular, and we'll wrap today's show by chatting with Hall of Famer George Gervin. That's on the way. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Glenn Clark and Stan the Fan Charles sit down for a sports conversation with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, discussing the Orioles and Ravens stadium leases, the future of horse racing in Maryland, and how his own football career at Johns Hopkins shaped him as a leader. This is also our annual travel issue with information about sports tourism opportunities in Maryland for your family to take advantage of throughout the summer. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores, or you can read the entire issue at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, winding down for a Wednesday edition of the program. Again, if you weren't with us at the top, no Would You Rather Wednesday today. It's the holiday. I did 2 radio shows, but it's just – and then we had some stuff we were doing before the show today on top of everything else. So I just said for 1 week, we'll live. We'll be back next week, I promise. We're not getting rid of Would You Rather Wednesday. It's just 1 week. Speaking of which, I hope everybody has a wonderful Juneteenth. I said this earlier this morning. Let's stop doing holidays on dates. Let's just make them all Mondays or Fridays. Okay? Like, we just need to, we're all adults, a functional society. We can celebrate the 4th of July on the 5th of July. We can celebrate Juneteenth on June 20th.
Well, the 4th of July we can't.
No, we can. I promise you. We could just call it Independence Day.
Can't change Christmas Day either.
And do it. No, we can do all of these things.
New Year's Day.
All of these things can be done.
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day would be the most difficult of all of them, obviously. That one, you might be right about. That might be the one that we have no choice but to keep it on that day. The rest of them, Leap Day, shut up. I didn't even catch that at first. Move it to a Friday or a Monday. I prefer Fridays. Some people like Mondays. Whatever it is, that's the date. Make it the Friday or the Monday. So it be written. So it be. Here's this.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
It is Tidbit of the Day. Griffin, what you got today?
Connor McDavid we did mention the Oilers and the Panthers, and the large reason the Oilers are back in this series now is because of Connor
finally.
McDavid.
Took a little while to get.
He is the first player ever in NHL history to have back-to-back 4-point games.
Yeah, 2 goals, he had 2 goals, 2 assists. Yeah,
last night, yes,
yep.
And then also in game, and obviously he was part of that 8.
Yeah, well, everybody seemed like I think you might have had 4 points in game 4.
He and the only other player to even have multiple 4-point games in a single final in NHL history,
obviously, was Mario Lemieux.
Oh, come on.
Was Wayne Gretzky.
It was Wayne Gretzky in 1985.
I mean, those Oilers teams were loaded, so it's totally possible that, like, you know.
But yeah, Gretzky and McDavid now the only 2 to ever have multiple 4-pointers in the final, and
both
McDavid,
with the same franchise. How about that?
That is crazy. And then obviously Willie Mays obviously passed yesterday, and he has all the stats. The one I want to start with is I clicked out of it from Tim Kirchin. He is the only player to ever hit 300, also have 300 career home runs.
I'm sorry, before we do this, because we were just talking about hockey. I didn't even tell you. I forgot yesterday. The first sports question at trivia on Monday night was name the 2 teams.
There is a place.
Hey, thanks. So glad I get to be the sports guy. Everyone in the bar. Sorry. There was also who's older, Peyton Manning or Drew Brees?
Geez, the fact that it's a question makes me think. Peyton Manning's
It was
older.
Yes, Peyton Manning's definitely older. It was a series of 4 different. It was like who's older, Mike Pence or Kamala Harris? Who's older, Beyonce or Rihanna? Who's older? Like there was 4 different. We got
all
4 of them. Yeah, that's but by the way,
Pence is older.
Yeah, Pence is
Okay.
older. The problem was they all did seem easy. Pacino De Niro was one of them. Pacino's older. And that was the thing. It seemed easy, and then that really screwed with us because we're like, there's got to be a catch.
Yeah,
Like that's
like,
got to be. No, they were all.
He hit Willie Mays 300 batting average, 300 home runs, and also had 10 Gold Gloves. And he hit 302. He hit 660 home runs and had 12 Gold Gloves. No other player even reached 300 home runs and had 10 Gold Gloves and hit 300.
Mm-hmm.
And he also led the league in stolen bases for like 3 years in a row, I think. It might have been more than that.
I read a lot. I did a lot of reading last night about Willie Mays, and Dave Sheinin wrote an incredible piece, I think on his 90th birthday in the Washington Post. And, a lot is, and I read, I retweeted a story about Willie Mays' history with the city of Hagerstown, that if you go to last night, or even just search Willie Mays Hagerstown, I'm sure it'll come up. It's a very complicated story. Like Willie Mays made his professional debut in Hagerstown. We're about to hear from them in a second. Playing, I don't, the Giants. Because the Giants ultimately were a Hagerstown affiliate, or the Hagerstown was an affiliate, but I think it was the other way around this time. I think like the Giants were the road. I think their team was Trenton, and they were playing at whoever Hagerstown was affiliated with. But that's where he made his professional debut, and I guess that's unfair too, because he had played in the Negro Leagues before that. So I don't know what you want to call his minor league debut, whatever you want to call it. And he was, booed. I mean, like, lustily booed heavily, which, given the time, unfortunately, sadly, is not all that surprising. And over the years, the folks in Hagerstown kept reaching out, asking if they could honor him, if he would come back. And he just said, nah, there's way too much sadness for me about those memories. And then finally, later in life, he decided he would come back and try to make peace with that part of his history. It's a fascinating story. I'd encourage people to read it.
Another good one I saw, he had 600 home runs. He had 300 stolen bases. He had 20-plus All-Star selections, 10 Gold Gloves, 10-plus Gold Gloves, 4 home runs in a game. He had multiple league MVP awards, and he was Rookie of the Year. He did all 7 of those categories. No other player has reached all or more than 3 of those feats in their career.
Sure. He's very good.
Yeah. All right. Then I guess quickly for the tidbit, we will do the All-Star selections. Then he has 24.
Now, but did this count the years where there were 2 All-Star games?
I did. So I'm looking at Baseball Reference, and we're counting games. So that was 59.
So
to 62.
this is not the most years where
we could do. All right, we'll do. Do you want to do seasons on roster?
I don't care. Whichever you want to do, because we got to go
seasons
through
on roster then. There are 3 players that have been on the roster that have made an All-Star roster 20 times. 20 seasons.
in 20 different seasons.
And then let's do all the guys that did 16. So
okay.
That would be the top 9, I believe, here. Yes, the top 9.
So I feel like we might have done this when Hank Aaron died. Was Hank Aaron the one with the most? That's
Hank
what
Aaron.
when he died, it felt like we had this.
It was like 25 games. 24 for the National League, 1 game for the.
And how many am I trying to get overall?
9. So we have.
9. Okay, so and you said the cutoff is what?
17 in season.
17.
16.
So Cal Ripken's on that list.
Cal Ripken is on that list. 19 All-Star games for Cal Ripken because there was no double games.
Is he the most modern on the list?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go Ted Williams.
Ted Williams on the list. 17 seasons on the roster.
Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle, 16. He is the cutoff.
Musial.
Stan Musial He is the third 20-plus seasons on the All-Star roster. Hank Aaron, Stan Musial.
Ricky Henderson?
Not Ricky Henderson.
I guess he would have been still after. Oh, Brooks.
Brooks just misses the cutoff because he would have made 18 All-Star games, but he only made 15 seasons.
Yeah. Joe DiMaggio.
No DiMaggio.
Pete Rose.
DiMaggio was 13. Yes, Pete Rose.
Okay.
17 All-Star selections for Pete Rose.
Reggie Jackson.
No Reggie Jackson. He was 14, I think. Yeah, 14. Bum.
Yuck. This has gotten more difficult than I. Missing 2, and they're older players, and they're. I don't know if he's Dave Winfield.
No, not Dave Winfield.
Rod Carew.
Rod Carew is on the list. 18 All-Star selections for Rod Carew, Hall of Famer.
One more. Ernie Banks.
Not Ernie Banks.
Sure, it's not Ernie Banks.
I am sure.
He
played for a very long time.
Played for a very long time.
I mean, yeah, obviously. But I was about to say the city. I don't know if you want that yet.
Played for a very long time in the city. And it's somebody but they can only be so old because the All-Star game didn't start until like
he played from 1961 to 1983 was his playing career. 61.
All right, tell me a city.
Boston.
Yes.
Carl Yastrzemski. Carl Yastrzemski. Those are the guys.
I was thinking about it, but that seemed like a lot. All right, whatever. Anyway, Tubular, fine.
There is a place where tradition, family, and community gather, where the aspirations of talented young competitors takes root, and where the crossroads of history, culture, and renewal come together. This spring, experience America's newest and most innovative ballpark, Meritus Park in Hagerstown, Maryland, home of the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Plan your getaway today. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Go get them, boys. Tonight, Orioles-Yankees, Game 2 of a 3-game series. It's on Masson, Cade Povich, and Garrett Cole. It's only on MLB Network in the Boston
Well,
and
it is a
Toronto
pleasure
markets,
now to be joined
but
here on
not
G's.
in Boston markets. That's a different thing altogether. Unless that Boston market is in the Boston market or in the Toronto market, in which case you can watch it at that Boston market. So.
What about the Lexington market?
No, not available at the Lexington market. And again, unless there's another Lexington market that's inside of the Boston or Toronto markets. So I think that straightens everything out. I think I got that all figured out for you. That's what's going on. Swimming trials continue tonight for the Olympics, 8 o'clock on NBC, 7 o'clock on USA. As Griffin mentioned earlier, right now Germany-Hungary on Fox Sports 1 and Scotland-Switzerland at 3 in the Euro on Fox. That's a Fox game, Scotland-Switzerland. Other baseball, Masson 2, D-backs Nationals, 4 o'clock. MLB TV, Mets Rangers at 8:05. ESPN Plus has Reds Pirates at 12:30. MLB Network, Padres Phillies at 1. Red Sox Blue Jays at 7. ESPN's got the College World Series right now. Florida pounding Kentucky, 7 first-inning runs. They lead 7-1. The winner of that one faces Texas A&M tonight at 7. Tennessee, Florida State today at 3. So Florida State is win once, and they're in the final. Tennessee's got, or the other way around. Tennessee wins once. Florida State's got to win twice. So Tennessee wins today. They're in the final. If Florida State wins, they play again tomorrow. And same thing tonight. Texas A&M wins tonight.
Correct.
They're in the final. If the winner of this game wins tonight, then they play again tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. Monumental, Mystics Fever, 7 o'clock. I hear Caitlin Clark's involved with that. Apple TV, Atlanta United, DC United at 7:30. CBS Sports Network, Racing Louisville against Angel City at 10 throughout all the records, and those teams get together. TNT, I believe it's actually TBS, for AEW Dynamite tonight at 8. Non-sports.
Not like a whole lot.
Quick.
MasterChef, of course, on Fox.
Yep.
And then Dakota Johnson will be on Kimmel. She's got that movie with Sean Penn where they're driving around in the taxi that everybody says is apparently really good.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar.
It's just those two, and they're driving. The whole movie is them driving in a taxi and telling life stories to each other.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like not Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn, the characters.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate it. We sorted that out. That was really brilliant stuff.
And that's really it.
GlennClarkRadio.com.
There's a Black Barbie documentary on Netflix about the history of the Black Barbie.
Okay, interesting.
It's on Netflix.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right. That's all. GlennClarkRadio.com. Thanks today to Drew Forrester. Thanks to Tyler Locklear, to AJ Pierzynski, and to the Iceman George Gervin. We're about to hear from him. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Oh my God, it's so good.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. On the program tomorrow, we're going to meet a couple more former Terps who are now Olympians, as the sisters Brooke and Emma DeBerdine are on the U.S. Olympic hockey team. Field hockey, U.S. Olympic field hockey team. We're going to chat with both of them on tomorrow's program. Anything else?
We should be going out to
Bowie. Okay.
Yes.
Stuff and things.
Stuff and things.
Thanks, everybody at Pressbox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Visit Hagerstown in Washington County, Cruise, Maryland, Guilford Hall Brewery, Royal Farms, Ed Block Courage Awards, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Wednesday evening. Happy Juneteenth. Go Birds. Duke sucks. We wrap up today. George Gervin is coming to town. The Hall of Famer joins us right now here on GCR.
Well, it is a pleasure now to be joined here on GCR by an absolute icon in the game of basketball, of course, a Hall of Famer. And he is coming to our fine city 1 week from this Saturday, as the Big Three will be at CFG Bank Arena. He's the head coach of the Ghost Ballers. He is the Iceman, George Gervin, and he's with us now on GCR. George, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It is an absolute honor to chat with you. Thank you so much for taking some time for us.
Hey, man, thanks, man. I'm looking forward to come up, man. It's been a while since I've been in that area, so looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great day. It's going to be an awesome, awesome weekend and a tremendous event. George, if I could, you're at a place in your life, you don't need to be doing this, right? Like, there's no reason why you got – what is it about the Big Three being a part of this that has made you want to take on this role?
I've been involved 7 years from the beginning. I remember when Ice Cube called me and told me he was going to create this platform and asked me to be a part of it, and I agreed, man, and I really been enjoying it for the last 7 years. It's really remarkable. I mean, 3-on-3 been played overseas for a long time, and I believe it's really been in the Olympics.
Yep.
So for him to be able to create this league, for former NBA guys, a lot of guys that still want to play and, and they need a stage, and he created a stage for them to play. So him and Jeff, man, I'm real proud of them, man, 'cause I really enjoy it. And it's some real good basketball, man. These guys play hard, and they play like we played back when I played, when it's a little bit more physical than it is today.
George, it's funny you bring that up because I've had a couple people tell me that would be the difference. Like, I still feel like there are folks, and I know the ratings have been good, but I still feel like there are folks that maybe don't know what it is they're getting if they go out and check out the Big Three next Saturday. What would you describe the style of basketball? You point out a lot of players, the Joe Johnsons, the Alonzo Barbosas, like a lot of players that you're going to recognize when you go out to CFG Bank Arena.
I mean, you really would enjoy it. I mean, because it's good basketball. It's guys that's real competitive. I mean, nobody like to lose. So if you don't like to lose, you give your best. And, I think that's really what makes this league. People say, oh, half-court basketball. You got to be in shape to play in this league. And I think a lot of the newer guys that come into the league, they'll play that first game and they'll say, wow, I didn't know that it was that tough. So it's fun, it's competitive, and a lot of, fans will get a chance to see some of the older guys that they, followed during their NBA career. So, I think it's a great event, and again, I'm real proud to be a part of it.
And worth pointing out, too, that it's not just the former players that are playing. It's not just you, but there are some true icons of the sport involved in coaching. One of those being one of your former teammates, like, what's it been like doing this with Dr. J these last couple of years?
Well, man, people don't know, man, that we both in that area in Norfolk, Virginia, not too far from Baltimore. I was his rookie in the Virginia Squires, and for Doc to be a part of it, Gary Payton, Lisa Leslie, Michael Cooper. We got some Hall of Famers that's involved in this league because we believe in the product, and it's fun for us to, compete against each other. Again, none of us like to lose, so preparation is everything. So it's a fun league, and I'm real proud, again, to be a part of the Big Three.
He is the Iceman, George Gervin, and, of course, he will be in town 1 week from this Saturday, June 29th, at CFG Bank Arena as part of what's going to be an awesome day of basketball. George, there's so much that I want to talk to you about, and what an iconic career. I guess let me start right now. I imagine like everybody in San Antonio said, hey, Boston, you probably should enjoy the championship you got because like within another couple of years, Wemby's going to start winning all of them, right?
He's a special kid, y'all. He really is, man. I really admire him because I really like his approach to the game, his preparation. He loved the game. Well, I use two terms about loving it. Some guys love it. He's in love with it. So he does the extra, being 7'4", 7'5", and having the ability that he has and the skills that he has. You're 100% right. And Pop, being who he is and know how to put a system together, will put talent around them so they can be real productive. So I'm looking forward to the future of San Antonio Spurs.
I feel like all these other like players, like they should be trying to get out and get to San Antonio right now, right? Like this is the time.
Yeah. It is, man. This kid is something we never saw before with the ability that he has and understanding the game like he does. He's real special, y'all, and I wasn't a bad player myself, and I knew how to play, but I do know talent, and he's a very talented individual.
He's unbelievable, man. Like, he's an alien.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, we ain't seen nothing like this kid before, and it's special, and I'm glad to still be a part of the Spurs organization to really get a first-hand look at this young man. And he's a great kid. So I'm real proud of that more than his basketball skills is, the kind of young man he is. So good upbringing, man. And like I know, man, that means everything.
You just brought up Pop. He's such a fascinating person to me, right? Like, and I think a lot of people years ago, didn't like Pop nationally. He was abrasive. And then the more we learned about his personality and the more personable he showed himself, I think there was a great affinity that came along with Pop. What is it? Like, this is one of the most accomplished coaches in the history of the sport. What is special? What is unique about him? Why has he transcended eras? What has made him so great?
Well, I think he showed guys that he appreciate him. He understands the game. Pop is the kind of guy that, put in a system that worked. Obviously over the years he didn't win championships. But I think really the players respect him and develop a relationship with him and they play for him. That's the beauty of coaching. Now, we all talk about the players, but when you have a relationship with the leadership and the leadership care more about you than just basketball, you want to win for him. I heard Derek White say about the Boston coach. He said, man, I really love Coach, man, because he care about me and he trusts me. Man, that makes you want to play for that coach, So for all the young coaches and the older coaches, once you develop that positive attitude with that young man and let him know it ain't just about basketball, it's about your life also, then a guy want to win for you, man. So that's what Pop brings to the game, man. And, and I've seen it over the years, man. And he's a great coach, man. I have nothing but respect for him.
He is the great George Gervin. Another couple of minutes with him here on Glenn Clark Radio before the Big Three comes to Baltimore. Iceman, look, it's an interesting time. Last 6 years, there's been 6 different NBA champions, and that hadn't happened since 1975 to 1980. How good has it been for the sport that every city has felt like they have more of a chance, that it hasn't just been everything's dominated by LeBron or Steph or super teams or something like that?
Man, it's like everything else, man. We're starting to see the evolution of the game, man. I mean, it's global now, and talent is coming in from all over the world, think about it, y'all. It was no LeBron. There was no Curry, it was no Durant, So the new era has arrived, that's the beauty to me of the game. It's more competitive. Like you say, now cities can see that they may have an opportunity to be like Boston was the other day and win a championship. I think it's good for the game, man. I really do, man. And I look forward again. I'm keep coming back to San Antonio and with what we have here down here, man. It's an interesting future for the NBA.
I am really worried that he's about to just take over the entire league, and there is going to be nothing that anyone is ever going to be able to do about it. I am nervous about that. This is a nerdy thing, George. I always like to ask like legends and people that I've talked to what their biggest pinch me moment is. Like, you've done so many things, you've been around so many people, and you've accomplished so much. What is like your all-time I can't believe I did this, or I can't believe I got to know this person? Like, what's the thing that fuels you that years later you still think about from your life and your accomplishments in your career?
Well, man, what I really love more about my career is not basketball, but having the ability to, have a positive influence on people's lives. Basketball is a tool, but I love people, and I love relationships. And in my life, how they say money makes the world go round, but not for George Gervin. Relationships make the world go round. So I have charter schools. I build retirement homes for, low income. I mean, so for me, that's my greatest gift, is caring about somebody else.
That's cool. I really, truly appreciate that. And we can't wait to see you here, and we want the entire city to get out and support. It's a great event for our city as the Big Three comes to CFG Bank Arena here in Baltimore next Saturday, June 29th. George Gervin, truly an honor. Greatly appreciate you spending a few minutes with us this morning. Safe travels to Baltimore next weekend. We can't wait to see you. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, man, appreciate you, man.